Oh, the music. Oh,
Oh,
the
sorry.
loud.
Whoops.
Yeah.
You're getting your Bob's awful audio. I forgot. Honestly, I've gotten used to it, so it doesn't really bother me. But yes, welcome, guys. Sorry about that long delay. We had quite a bit. Oh, it got really quiet. Because
Can you hear me? Okay?
Yeah, there's none of that background noise now. Nice.
Can you talk? Wait.
Yeah, there was definitely there was a reason of our delay. My correspondent has not been since like a couple weeks ago. So
Yeah, it's. I don't know. Is anybody else aware of any single rail coasters and their operating status at the moment?
in the past couple of days, yes. Has anyone heard of Railblazer or Stunt Pilot or any of those single rails operating in the past couple of days, like since Wednesday?
Trying to get to YouTube here. There we are. Warm Gatorade is actually really good.
Warm?
Yeah.
Warm Gatorade sucks. No way. I don't even like Gatorade that much in the first place, but I gotta have it cold for me. They said orange. I was going to say orange is the best flavor in my opinion, but it's...
I like lemon lime. Actually,
Yeah.
lemon lime mixed with 50% water, like half and half. Half water, half lemon lime Gatorade, and warm. It like quenches my thirst better than anything. Which probably is odd, but whatever.
That's very odd. I mean, I used to drink Gatorade when I was playing sports a lot, but I don't know. I still prefer water. I think that's definitely my go-to for
Water
hydration.
makes me not feel good.
What?
Water makes me not feel good. And why? What? Oh no. We're gonna have this audacity thing going on, I think.
Oh god. Be too easy for it to go smoothly.
Ah, darn it.
Could you stand by me? Not at all. Stand by me. No way.
No, Gatorade's better than Powerade.
I do agree with that. Are we having that debate? Is someone arguing about that?
Sam said Powerade's better than Gatorade.
No.
He is incorrect.
Yeah, you're wrong there. I agree.
All right. I gotta have a fight with Audacity, apparently.
Have fun.
I think if I remember right, what I had to do was...
Give it an ass kicking for me.
Yeah. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. I think I have to close Discord.
That's not cool. I'm just kidding.
I will be right back.
Okie dokie. I think you guys are gonna see two of me then. It's gonna be double the James. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of trippy. It's very trippy, actually. Let's see. What was I gonna look up?
All right. Can you hear me?
I can
Hello?
hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I was momentarily concerned there.
I think. Let's see. I think they have their operational rides on their website, so maybe it'll say not operational. Let's see if that's. That would be pretty easy. I feel like that's too easy.
I know, because they want you to go to the park even if you can't have the experience you are going for. All right, will Audacity work now? No,
Not gonna work,
Audacity is still picking up. All
Nope, it doesn't say
right,
it's
let me.
operational.
All right, let me. I gotta close Discord again real quick.
Alright. Interesting. You're gonna pass Alex, I think. How many credits are you gonna get on this trip? I think Alex was talking about this actually the other day when we were in America. I'm gonna reiterate. Does anybody know the the operational status of the single rails? Like, can anyone confirm or deny that any of them are open or not open, or like their status? Because Bob thinks they're all down because of an issue. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree, but that's his census right now. So if that's true or not, that'd be great to figure out. If anyone can, oh yeah, I saw my friend was there the other day or whatever. That would be great. Mako was ranked. Oh, we gotta talk about this. I don't know if Bob's gonna want to. Oh, this is the worst top. So the top 10 best coaches in the USA poll are as follows: Mako, Phantom's Revenge, Phoenix,
Don't make me close Discord again.
Fury, Lightning Rod, Steel Vengeance, Montu, The Voyage, Millennium Force, and then Hagrid's.
Don't
It's
be
one of the
reading that
worst.
crap.
It's one of the worst lists ever. I thought Bob's lists were bad.
What?
I take Blue Streak at Cognac over Mako being number one in the world. I love Mako, but come on. It's a bit ridiculous. I was saying we should talk about that list on our shows. I'd like to joke about it.
And how horrible.
Yeah, I specifically said I don't think Bob's going to watch it.
Oh, we could talk about it. I have a lot to say about USA Today.
I had this rant on my show, or on the show, a long time ago, like pre-Bob, so that's how long ago it was. I was like, USA Today sucks, and it was also the Golden Ticket Awards that year, I think, as well. I gave them both.
But so Golden Ticket at least is like, it's at least a fair poll. It just doesn't pull the right demographic.
The Golden Ticket Awards actually have a poll. It's not just like whoever has the biggest following can gather the most people and just have them vote 400,000 times for them. The USA Today system of voting sucks. I mean, if you really wanted, you could sit there and just vote Mako all day or vote Fury all day. Just sit there. At least like black out the IP addresses, like the same. Like it shouldn't be the same.
Well, they do some rudimentary stuff, but it's not hard. But the bigger problem with 10 Best is that it's all just it's a gimmick to drive readers to USA Today.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically get, well, Parks in this case, but whatever company they're pulling, Like
To
they
come,
basically
yeah.
get those companies to advertise for USA Today.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
But I also think it's ridiculous that it's like whatever parks have the biggest following, pretty much get their ride on that list automatically. Not automatically, but it's like
Well,
it's kind of
no,
predetermined.
that's actually not the case.
Okay.
They actually elect experts, quote unquote,
Yeah. Get
to
Rob
make
Alvey's
that.
among them.
Exactly. He actually has been the person that has done it a few times.
Yeah, I know. Clint Novak's been on there before. I know they have experts, but it's still like they do select the rides that they like. But either way, it always seems to me that the top 10 consists of parks that, for the most part, have a large following.
Yeah, I think that's just the kind of the nature of it. But yes,
Which
it
exactly,
does.
which is why I don't like that. Like, I don't like that kind of poll because this is the poll that everyone will go
Right.
to. This is the poll that everyone will say, "Oh, the USA Today poll said this was the best in the world," and it's like, well, that's not really the case. Like SeaWorld Orlando has a large Twitter following doesn't mean that they consist of the best rides and attractions in the country, and they don't make us not the best ride in the country. But because they sent out a tweet 400 times and everyone went to their link, they win by default, kind of. I think that's stupid. So it says Jersey Devils down. Yes, that I knew that was down. I heard that's down, but why don't they? Does it not? It doesn't say Fiesta Texas. Doesn't say. It's strange that Great Adventure says it's down, but not Fiesta Texas. Just says like. Where does it say on the site that it's down? Is it like a specific? Is it just on the attractions list, or is it on the actual, like you have to click on that individual attraction and get sent to its little page, or what is it?
Huh. I got
You got
I got 2 awards for my comment on Reddit. I think those may be the first awards I've ever got on Reddit.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your comment? Oh, the comment that you made about Adventureland.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You do a lot of like thinking into it. Alright, I guess we're not going to come to a conclusion on this single rail stuff tonight.
We could maybe
I
mention
don't
it
see anything.
and
Well, yeah, I just
blame
don't see
Dan the
anything
t-shirt
about like
guy.
it being open or not. Like we're not coming to a conclusion of whether or not they're open or not.
Wish there were more. It's kind of weird that.
Innovative
Why is
loading
he?
station. What?
What? Huh?
They're talking about the never. They're talking about the continuous load system on the single rails as an innovative loading system. I'm like, this
Log
has been
flumes and
done before
rapids rides have had it for
decades.
decades.
Yeah, and dark rides. I mean, this is nothing.
Yeah. Spaceship Earth.
Yeah, like Jesus, innovative. I don't know about that. Let's not go crazy. On roller coasters, it's new, but that's not really like it's not a hard technology to just transfer over to roller coasters. I don't think so. Alright, I can't find it. I'm not gonna spend all day. Do you want to talk about USA Today? I put it on there.
It's up to you.
I'm gonna put best. I'm okay with talking about it if you want to make fun of it.
Yep, that's fine. wonder if I wonder if Ride's database has anything. Oh, well, apparently they don't have anything newer than the end of 2020. Man, why is it so... Well, actually, why don't we ask Twitter?
Should we talk about Griffin reopening, or I guess it doesn't matter, but I don't even think we talked about it in the first place, so it actually doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
Oh, you want to talk about a little Jersey Devil coaster?
And how it's going to be the only Jersey Devil coaster operating?
This weekend, yeah. Go to the park. You can ride the little Jersey Devil. Someone said that sounds that sounds like the name of a SoundCloud rapper. Little Jersey Devil or Little Devil coaster.
Little Jersey Devil. Oh,
what?
Oh, per park websites and apps, according to Dan the T-shirt guy, Wonder Woman and Railblazer are also closed.
So Stunt Pilot, Wonder Woman, and Jersey Devil. And he's confirmed that. Yeah.
That's what he said.
Someone said, at least I know this one will be slow and forceless, and it won't disappoint me as much as the full Jersey Devil. And someone said, who in the F calls Raptors forceless? That was funny.
Well, somebody's saying they rode Railblazer today, so I don't know.
Well, if they're saying that, I assume they're not making it up. Maybe they are.
But I mean, it could have just opened today.
Yeah, I mean, we get to bring it up as something like an interesting, maybe. Oh, Mindbender is testing at Six Flags Over Georgia. Should we talk about that? That hasn't operated since like 2019 or 2018.
Sure. LJ absolutely loves Phantom's Revenge. He couldn't ride it enough. Yeah, he loved it.
I love it too. That's great. Glad he likes it. Is it? So it wasn't him, right? That was kind of like certain rides he questions, even though he knows that he would be okay with them, kind of before
He started getting kind of like afraid of things that are tall. So here's the funny story. Honest to God, he apparently, like, the last week or so, he's on his own been like looking up coasters on the internet and like stats and stuff. As we're like driving to Kennywood, and he's like, "Did you know that Phantom's Revenge is only 3 feet shorter than Voyage?" I went, what the hell just happened? But here's the thing. The only reason why he was okay riding it was because it wasn't taller than the tallest coaster he's rode. So I waited until he was strapped in to say, "Oh, by the way, the,
The drop is
did you
actually a
did
lot
you know
tougher.
the drop is 235 feet or whatever?"
Like
He's
230,
like,
I think.
he looked at me and he said, "What?"
And you were like, "Do your research, kid." I'm just kidding. No.
Hey, I would never dream of doing that to Piper, but LJ, I knew he'd be.
So he liked it though.
Oh, he loved it. Like every moment, he's like, "Can we go back to Phantom's Revenge? Can we go back to
Did he like
Phantom's
any?
Revenge?"
Has he been? He's been to the park before, right?
Yeah,
So he's been on
he
everything
went.
else, right? Like Jackrabbit
Uh,
and Thunderbolt. And...
yeah, I believe so. Oh, Exterminator. He didn't ride Exterminator before, and he's not tall enough for Steel Curtain and Skyrocket because they raised the height on Steel Curtain for whatever reason.
Any restraints, right?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't know what they did. I have no idea what they did. I thought the change had something to do with the seat belts, but I don't know for sure.
Well, if it did, then that's probably why. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I was looking at. Oh, yeah. I can't believe they closed their kiddie coaster, New Jersey Great Adventure closed their kiddie coaster, and then just to reopen it and say they got our 14th coaster. that's pretty epic.
Well, I mean, it does it. I mean, Jersey Devil would have been their 14th coaster.
That's their 13th.
I know, but if they wouldn't have closed it,
I know, it's just
Jersey
funny
Devil.
how they did that. It's like, we're going to close it, we're going to subtract a ride from our total coaster list. Then we're going to add it back a year later and act like it's a brand new. It's a funny marketing move. 14.
I don't think that was the plan for marketing though. I think it was literally they just wanted to move it and it just happened. They're
I
like,
think
well,
it was
yeah.
a bit of
So.
remark. It was a bit of. I mean, they're trying to reimagine this ride from Roadrunner
Right. Yeah.
Express
Yeah. Exactly.
to Jersey Devil. So,
But I mean, I think they would have rather probably said Jersey Devil was their 14th, but it just worked out that way. I don't know.
I don't know either. But whatever it is, I think it's just ironic how it played out. Whether or not that was their intent, I think it's funny. Which I don't really. If it wasn't their intent, I don't know why it took them. I mean, I don't think pitting a 250-foot long family coaster and putting up little Jersey Devil signs instead of Roadrunner Express is that daunting of a task. I don't know. Maybe I'm.
Well, aren't they building a new kids area?
No, I think this is in the already existing one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's all that's happening.
I thought they were just like moving it in the park.
No, I think it's.
Yeah, because I thought I remembered them saying something about. I thought I remembered them having to remove it for something else that they put in. Maybe it was even Jersey Devil.
They might be moving it, but either way, I don't. It might be. I don't doubt that it might be moved to another part of the park, per se. But I don't think there's a new kids area. So, but either way, like I still think painting it and then building a new little station for it would be that difficult if they really wanted it to be if they wanted Jersey Devil to be their 14th. I don't know. Why are we having this conversation?
It could be. I don't know. I have no idea.
You don't know. We just need a weekly poll for next week, and then we're good, pretty much. I mean, unless we have one more news story. I feel like there's one more news story that I forgot about.
Um, the yeah, the big bad fox.
Yeah.
Do you have a link for it?
Yeah, I do.
Is Pam still with us? Probably not, huh?
Yeah, I imagine not. I'll be shocked. She'll come in like 10 minutes later and be like, yeah, I'm here. Let's see.
Active shooter at Knots.
Right now? Like currently? Live?
Yes,
What do you see
23
there?
minutes ago.
Is that on Reddit?
No.
Oh, yeah, I see. Google.
Oh, not active. It's shots fired.
Oh. It's a shooting outside, not the Prairie Farm, yeah. There's no active shooter threats. Interesting. Alright.
No, apparently it was a drive-by. What is drive-by at an amusement park?
Shoot the roller coaster and drive off. Just like the guy with the fire.
Yeah.
Drive off. There's some weird ass people in this country. I don't know what these people are doing anymore. I'm like, what is going on? Can't even light a coaster on fire properly. Like, what are you doing with yourself?
Yeah, they're mad the ride up stapled them, so they're doing a drive-by. That I could see it.
Or because the ride closed 10 minutes early.
Well, that's to your point. It is Cedar Fair though, so
Yeah, it could be. Alright, are you ready to rumble?
let's get ready to rumble. Dun 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 dun. Hold on, let me post to Reddit.
Look at this
Hope nobody-
image. I just looked at the image of King's Dominion Drop Tower just because I was just surfing a little bit. Doesn't that look tilted? Looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. A Leaning Tower of Pisa.
It does.
That's pretty great. Okay. All right, 12:30 start.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm watching this real quick.
No, I'm not ready to actually start. I was just
Oh,
saying.
Oh my god.
What's up?
They They closed down the street, but they didn't close down the end of the street. So people were driving into it and then turning around and driving the wrong way. That's crazy. So apparently, Adventureland also was uh, they had been basically lobbying to reduce the like safety regulations and stuff at amusement parks.
Mm,
Ironic, huh?
indeed. I bet that campaign failed.
I mean, good lord. Did you see this video of 1001 knots? Like basically like almost falling apart? Good
Yes,
lord.
yeah, the fair ride.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah. There's people like holding it up.
People stood on it to keep it from tipping over?
Yeah.
What the hell? Like, we need to talk about this. I don't know if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want.
This is pretty
Just take
crazy,
something
though.
off and run
Holy
down, though.
crap. Take the 10 best off.
Alright, yeah. I was literally about to do that. That's funny.
People freaking stood on it. It's like.
My bet is they were setting it up on, like, I don't know. I don't know what the support system of that was like, but clearly did not function properly. I mean, that was ridiculous, yeah. People on Reddit were like, why would you stand on that stone? I'm like, in the moment, that is, I mean, it's your first response to help people. It's not July 11th. It will be July 11th. Well,
No word on any investigation into the incident.
Yep, I heard they're packing up, moving on to the next place where they can kill people.
Oh my god.
This is why I don't trust fairs and like festivals, events with typically movable rides. There's definitely not as rigorous of safety procedures and regulations in place. This seems to be like a yearly trend, at least.
One guy, you say that, but watch the effing video. It worked.
Yeah.
that is seriously insane. People on the ride are like, oh, like, could you imagine? Holy crap!
Yeah, I would be freaking out. That may break the bond between.
I still to this day, I will not ride a pendulum ride at a fair.
After that incident.
Well, it's been more than one.
Well, there was one last year or a year before that was like a big.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, there were like three in this, like the same month.
Yeah, but that one in Ohio, I think, was like the large. That like went around
That was a big one,
national
yeah.
news.
But the thing is just like the weight and momentum of that is like, just, I don't know. That's just, I don't know. I just don't trust them. I mean, I love them at parks. Permanent installations are fine because I know they're in the ground. They're like they're there.
They're not never stood up on like milk cartons. There's like a milk crate.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, you never know. It could be milk cartons.
It could be. Could be anything, man. We don't
Cardboard
know what's
boxes.
underneath there. Just whatever they find. Let's just put this under there. This'll do.
Somebody points out, love how there's still someone drunk or stupid enough to have his arms up even towards the end.
Whee! Is this a part
And
of
the
the
reply to
ride?
that, the reply to that is, if you're gonna die a catastrophic way, why not at least enjoy it?
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
I'm sure half of those guys are like, is this part of the ride? Woo! I didn't know it shook. I didn't know it.
This one response. Why was there no emergency stop? Like, do people not understand what like, you can't it just doesn't freeze time.
Yeah. Like you hit emergency stop and everything just stops. Weep. Like you're putting the pause button, yeah. Plus, they didn't understand that, especially when the ride's like falling to pieces, the ride operator's probably freaking out too. He's not just gonna be like, "Oh, e-stop, e-stop." He's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" Like the whole thing's falling apart. This wasn't in the job description.
I mean, chances are that was the e-stop. I mean, they cut power. Like,
well,
that's probably what the e-stop is.
No, I think they actually like unplugged. I think they like actually cut power, like physically took the power out of the ride, not just stopped it. Yeah, that's what I interpreted from that.
I mean, that's what the article says, but like they don't understand what an e-stop is.
I think it was. I don't know. I saw somebody say. I thought it was more like they physically disengaged power to the ride. Maybe it was an e-stop though. It was an e-stop though.
I don't know.
Its continuous motion didn't suggest that to me. Like it kept. Didn't seem like it was.
Oh, but that's the thing. Like, it'd be hard. Like, I don't even know if those have brakes.
They don't. They just kind of slowly stop.
Yeah. So there's nothing you can do. Like.
But still, like it was going. Did you see Did you see the video? The actual video, or did you see the pictures?
No, I watched the video.
I don't know. To me, that seemed like it wasn't. He stopped. Like
no, that was definitely e-stops because you can see how it. I mean, those things. The key is the fact that it has the counterweight at the top. So like the momentum going is pretty great.
I don't know. I can't see the video now, so can't find it. I watched it once, and it was right before I went back to work, so I didn't really have time to examine the full.
I don't know.
To me, it looked like when I watched it, it looked like it was just.
It did kind of go. It does seem to be going pretty good, but it very well could be momentum, though. I don't know.
Could be, but those. I mean, I've ridden one of those before at a fair, and I remember it being more.
Maybe
It's a gradual stop, but it's definitely like noticeable. Like, oh, it's coming to a
maybe
stop.
it didn't. Maybe nobody e-stopped it at all, and like it just shook the plug loose for the lights, but yet the motor was still running.
Yeah.
All right, we need to like record something.
All right, I'm gonna throw my gum away. Oh,
Cam,
by
shouldn't
the
you be
way,
sleeping?
I think it's Margot Young. Yeah, I've been on Mako. And I've been to SeaWorld Orlando, obviously, so hence why I've ridden Mako.
Pam said that. Pam told me that we needed to start the show on time because you needed to be up by 7.
And now we're starting at like 3 hours late. That's pretty great. Not only are we not starting on time, but we're setting a record for how late we've started tonight. I don't know if we've ever started at 1 a.m. I don't know if we like we're starting. We're not even like sometimes we get to the second half of the show and we're like, oh, it's 1 a.m.
Yeah, I know. We're not even.
Not even.
It's like, yeah.
Not even initiated the show yet.
Yeah, Cam, Pam. There's too many AMs. Yeah, Cam, Pam sent me a message today and said,
She said in the Discord.
that we need to. Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
No, she texted you and me both, I think.
Oh, she did. Yeah, she did. She put us in a group chat. Please start the show on time tonight. Cam's got to be ready to go tomorrow at 7 a.m. So even if we start on the start of the live stream and record straight through 2 hours, that's still going to be 1 a.m. And we're starting at 1 a.m.
We're starting at 1 a.m.
Not even finishing at 1 a.m. We're starting. Oh, man. Nothing quite like Coaster Talk Podcast, is there?
No, there is not.
I don't think we could purposely delay the show as much as we do on just a whim, kind of. I swear, every week it's like something. We do something funny. We start the show late, we go 4 hours, whatever. Whatever it may be. At least there's no SeaWorld debate this week. Oh, we need a weekly poll. Yeah.
We don't need a weekly poll.
We need a weekly poll.
I still say the weekly poll should be what should next week's weekly poll be. Yeah.
I think you've been saying that since we started the show.
I know, because you never listen to me. It's a perfect question.
Oh, man. Do you think you could have your top 25 ready next week? For next week's show?
Maybe. I was actually going to work on figuring out my coaster count and stuff
Do you not know your
tonight.
coaster count?
I mean, I still have to figure out like the new stuff from Six Flags, and I think there's a couple other that I need to add.
Nikki, maybe.
But
Nickelodeon Universe, maybe.
yeah.
Cool.
What was I gonna say? I forget.
You're gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Your coaster count.
I was gonna do that tonight, and then I got distracted by the Adventureland scanner audio.
Okay. Well, if you can just get it ready for next week's show, maybe we could do like, we could ask everyone's top 5 and then give our top 25 next week. And then like we give our top 25 and then we talk about other people's top 5s, kind of.
Okay, we can do that.
Just so we're on theme a little bit. I'll just put top 5 question mark for now because I know what that means. Alright, are you ready to start? I'm glad Mike's not here. He'd be rubbing it in like, oh, it's
Oh, he would be.
making my money. Watch him be here, just watching. He's just like, I'm watching.
Yeah, he's like just
I'm stalking. I'm not saying anything.
mute my phone.
I'm here. We got 6 people in this chat or in the stream. Who's all here? Let's do roll call. I wonder who's here. Because I can only see active participants. I can see Clint and Cam. Are you watching it on your device at all?
Well, so I didn't click play. I'm like on the page, but I didn't click play.
I don't know
So
if that counts as a viewer then.
I don't know either.
Let's see. I'm gonna join and not click play and see if we get 7 viewers. Or it's just down to.
It might. Well, no, it'll still count you the same because you're logged in, right?
No, I'm not. I'm logging in on a different account. So. Alright, I just joined. Paused it. Doesn't look like it's counting me as a viewer. Let me see how this works. I don't know if I'm still logged in on my Kosher Talk account.
It might go by IP address too. Oh, there it is. It just went to 7 watching.
Yeah, there it goes. Alright, so I guess you do count. So then we have like 4 people watching. Oh, now it's 5. It's going down. If someone left, they're like, screw this. Alright. Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
Alright.
All right. 3, 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to another week. Oh, and my audio's not recording great. What the hell? It's just not there. Hello, 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 hello.
Oh, crap.
Hello, hello, hello. Alright, now they're on. Testing my audio for this week's episode of Kosher Talk Podcast. Testing my audio. Alright, it's good. Yep.
3, 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to another week of Kosher Talk Podcast. This is episode number 127, 28, damn it, I was trying to look before it. It happened, and then I can get over to the tab quick enough, and I said the wrong year. Alright, let me get this. 28. July 11th. I'm James. Is that right? Am I James?
I think so.
I think I might be Bob.
Could
Alright.
be. 3. How do I can't count now.
3, 4, 1.
3, 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to another week of Kosher Talk Podcast. This is episode number 128 of the show. It's July 11th, 2021. I'm your host, James Barber.
And I'm Bob Mertz.
And it is time for another week of Kosher Talk Podcast. Welcome to everyone. Bob, Intimidate 305.
Yes.
Back row ride.
Nope. It's a front row ride.
So I think we've definitely discussed this before on the show, but I again wrote it today, front and back, just to do a little bit of scientific, do a little bit of the scientific method, have like my hypothesis, have my data, have my results, and my trials can conclude that I-35 is back row. At least for me, there's no question. Front row is definitely fun, but back row you just get that pull, you get that whip. I don't know. Definitely for me.
See, I don't know. I like the you get the pop when you're being pushed up.
Yeah, I just
But
feel that
I mean,
back.
for me, the bigger thing is I-305 isn't designed to be an airtime machine. It definitely has airtime, but
Yeah.
it's more about the speed and the quick turns and like just going through the spaghetti mess of
Yeah.
track,
Yeah.
and all those are improved by the front seat.
Yeah, I would agree that it's definitely not an airtime machine. I don't even think it has much airtime to offer. It does have some select few moments, but it's not really. I don't think they're anything spectacular, really. The airtime on that ride's never really impressed me. However, even with that spaghetti bowl section, all those twists and turns, those snappy turns, I still think they're amplified by sitting in the back. I think you get whipped around a lot more in the back, which is what I like. That might be what you don't like, but I feel like when you're in the back, it's a lot more of a slam to the side, slam to the side, slam to the side, a lot more aggressive. And when you're in the front, it's more of like you're just kind of winding your way through it. That's how it's always felt, at least
I
in my
don't know.
ride today.
I don't think there's much of a difference in the speed, but just having the view
Mhm.
adds
No,
to it,
I
I
definitely
think.
agree that there are some elements. And of course, I think the drop's better in the back, but there are some benefits to the front. As always, the view is always great.
Yeah.
That sense of speed is always better in the front because you have the wind directly smacking you in the face,
Right.
and it
Exactly.
almost sounds like when you watch the POVs online and you can hear the wind blowing on the camera. It's like whoosh.
Yeah.
You hear
Yeah.
that in the front row. You don't really
You
hear that
know
else
what
on the
it's all
train.
about when you're in the front seat, you know what that wind sound is all
Exactly.
about.
You know where it's coming from, and that's definitely a benefit, pro of the front. You know, but I think
I
overall,
I 305
I take the back.
I-305 I think also has somewhat of a rattle in the back, and I can't marathon. Like I can ride in the back, but I can't marathon in the back because it kind of I start getting a headache after a while. It's not a terrible rattle, but it's definitely there, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't feel it at all in the front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there definitely is. I agree. There's a rattle on the ride, no question. And while you can feel it throughout the entire train, it is probably more extreme in the back. I think pretty much everything is kind of amplified in the back row, um, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. So I mean, I think wooden coasters, if they're rough, are usually rougher in the back. I think it just always happens to be that's the case. Which again, you can take that as being awesome or as something bad. It depends on what the ride's trying to do and what's the elements you're going through and everything. I don't know. For me, I-305 will still, at least based on ours today, always be a back row ride for me. Again, I tried the front. I waited like it was a longer line. I'm like, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna wait in the front, and I was still. Do I love the front? Yes. Is the front still a good row? Yes. That's what people seem to just not understand. Is that I'm not saying the front sucks. I mean, I love roller coasters, right? We all do. So the front's never bad.
We do? Is that what we're here for?
I don't know. As much as we crap on them sometimes, we do love them deep down. No, but the front row is definitely a lot of fun. It's definitely probably the second best row on the ride. But I just that back row for me is always going to be the place to go when I ride it, at least. I'll ride the front with you guys, but when I'm solo, back is where I go. Yo, trying to rhyme. um,
Don't quit your day job.
All right, guys. So we have a bit of news to discuss on this week's episode. I think that's what we're here for, if I remember correctly. Not just to talk about where to ride rides, but we do have some news to talk about in the amusement industry. Um, so I don't think we actually ever brought this up on the show because it hasn't really.
No,
We haven't had the time to because
no.
it actually occurred after we recorded last week.
Yeah, this is definitely the big news right now,
Yeah.
and you know, when stuff like this happens, I mean, you hate to see it. Uh, but this is starting to me. I, this isn't anywhere near the level of Varuk,
Mm-hmm.
but this is probably one of the incidents that I think may
Closest
come closer
related.
to
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
type of scenario.
Yeah.
Because fortunately, like this didn't have the design issues that you had with Varuk, but
Yeah. There
the
was. I
way
don't think there
things
was a
look,
blatant disregard of safety here. Like at least not intentionally.
well,
Not.
uh,
It seemed okay. Let me rephrase that. There's inclination of maybe there being like Bob will explain in a bit of there being some lack of safety. But with Varuk, it was like just plain and simple evil, kind of. So I
Yeah,
don't.
but I mean, they didn't start out to kill somebody either.
No, no,
I mean,
but it was definitely. I think I don't know. I think it's yeah. It's a little different, but sure. And I know you said that obviously, but I'm just saying.
yeah, it's definitely not to that level, but I mean, yeah. So what we're talking about is Adventureland in
Yes.
Altoona, Iowa.
Hmm.
There was an accident on the Rapids ride
Yep.
there,
The Intamin.
and
Rapid ride.
this is an Intamin.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is an Intamin. But I mean, there's a history of this type of ride having raft flips. It occurs. You're still safer on a Rapids ride than you are driving to the park,
Yeah,
statistically.
for sure.
But this is one of those things that it's known that it can happen.
It's likely. It's not
Um,
likely, but it is. It's a
right. It's
possibility. It's
it's
always a
like
possibility, right?
yeah,
Like can't be 100% certain ever.
right, exactly. And tragically, an 11-year-old was killed in it, and there's still currently another boy.
I think he's 16.
I'm 16. Wait, the one that's
That's critically ill or
on life
critically
support.
injured.
Where
Yeah.
actually, I just read that he was no, he's still on life support, but they just brought him out of the coma today, I believe.
Yeah.
I think I just read that.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, the thing that's going on right now is there seems to be, obviously you deal with the tragedy first, then investigations start, and that's where some things um, start coming out. And there, here's the thing about accidents and emergencies. No matter how hard you try, you cannot be prepared for every single thing.
Yeah. Every single
It's
scenario.
just not
Hmm.
possible because something may happen that you don't, you know, you never
You don't
accounted for.
expect. Yeah. You don't. You're
Yeah,
not
just
ready for.
weird stuff.
Hmm.
However, you need to have a framework,
In
and
place.
people who are working on rides need to have a concept of who they call and what needs to happen. The other thing is, I don't know why the fact that I have to actually state this is kind of weird, but you can't just assume that everything's always okay.
Yeah.
Because if something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong somewhere that you neglected to cover with a camera or have somebody watching. Because that's just the way things work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I
And what's
mean,
strange to me, and we kind of before the show discussed a little bit about this, but I'll bring light to it on show now. Um, Most of these rapid rides, and I had even been like, hey, but isn't there towers? Or don't they have towers located on all of these rides, like
yeah.
throughout the attraction, so you can monitor at all times each section of the ride? And we both agreed and concurred that that is the case with pretty much every rapids ride that we've ever been on. Kennywood, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Kings Dominion, they all have these towers that are placed throughout the ride course to monitor, because people don't understand this is not just a roller coaster, right? This is not something that is sophisticatedly designed. These are water rides. The water is a variable. You can't count on the water to respond accordingly every time. It's gonna have weird
Right.
formations sometimes, and it's gonna cause issues. So you have to have someone be monitoring it at all times to make sure that this section over here is doing good, and this section over here. And I'm correct, right? That there are no towers on this ride. That's what you mentioned, or at least
Yeah.
that you know
So,
of.
well, let's put it this way. Do you want to guess who the first person to call 911 was?
Well, I have
It was actually
I have
the people
knowledge. Yeah.
setting up the fireworks
Yeah.
display.
Yeah.
And that's who called 911. Apparently, from what we're gathering from reports, passing rafts were actually intervening to try to help these people.
Yes. 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 The lawyer
And
for these individual said that the first people to help his clients, were park guests.
Yeah. And
It's pretty funny.
KCRG reported that it was at the first 911 call actually came from the people setting up the fireworks display
Uh-huh.
for the park.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
funny. I didn't
and
mean to say it. It's not.
well, yeah,
It's sad, but
here's how things get even worse. First responders were showing up, and the ride operators still were not aware that there was an incident.
and they hadn't opened up the gate so the first responders could enter the
Yeah,
area.
well, yeah, that's another thing I was getting to.
I mean,
So
what?
the first
Well, I think that
responders
kind of plays
had.
into it because they weren't aware they couldn't open up
Well,
emergency
yeah,
gates.
that may be.
So,
I mean, well, yeah. So that's the thing. We don't know exactly how the policies are supposed to work. But basically, what happened is so what ended up happening is there were actually off-duty sheriff's deputies in the park. So they actually responded on foot at first. I mean, it still took them a good 5 minutes or so to get to that location.
Sure.
Since the call came out, but this is after the 911 call, which because they weren't aware, nobody was aware of this until that 911 call came in, and so the first units to arrive on scene came to Gate 2, which is the closest gate. I don't know the park, but I should mention that before we went to air here tonight, I actually listened to the entire scanner archive of the incident, and it was heart-wrenching, and it wasn't it was bad. Things were bad. But basically, first responders were not able to access the gate. And you actually heard people, them yelling on the radio, like, we need to find a way to get the ambulances as close to as possible to here. And then somebody else is like, we're going to try to find out how to get this gate opened. So I don't know. I don't know if that gate was, obviously any kind of big business is going to have some type of emergency plan that is worked on with the local first responders, fire, police, EMS. And, they should have had a plan of expectations of what happened. So I don't know if the expectation was that gate should always be unlocked during business hours, or if, security is supposed to unlock that immediately if there's an incident. I can't speak to that. We don't know that. But we do know that security had no idea this incident was going on either, because
they were not notified.
People were trying to ascertain where to go, and security has no idea what's going on either.
Mm-hmm. So I think this is honestly, I think the causing factor of this, at least of the response from the employees, is just a case of bad training and bad, they're not notified. They don't know what to do in the situation. They're new. They're young. We have a lot of new employees coming in this year because of COVID, a lot of unexperienced workers, which is easy to just train them, but I'm sure they were like, all right, we just need employees, we need to get revenue up, we haven't been open for a year and a half, and mistraining has occurred, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to have incidents like this, and there are people that aren't going to know how to respond. They're not going to know, oh, there's an incident going on, because they just aren't prepared for that kind of thing because they haven't been trained to do so, which sucks, and that's not cool, and that needs to be that needs to be fixed. That needs to be.
I mean, and apparently just not having people watching this entire. I don't care if it's somebody physically watching or if there's somebody watching video monitors or something.
Mm-hmm.
But the ride needs to be monitored and needs to be covered.
For sure.
I mean, Six Flags Great Adventure just learned this with their log flume. There was a developing situation that they didn't catch because nobody was watching.
Yeah, there was a blind spot.
There was the flume accident because of it. Of course, that wasn't anywhere near as serious as this. But again, there was just a complete failure, and I mean, it's just gross negligence. From everything that I can see, what I listen to, what I've been reading, And a couple articles have actually got a hold of the police reports and fire incident reports and stuff like that, and they've gone over it, and like everything is pointing to some serious, serious negligence on the part of the park.
Yeah.
And one other thing that really bugged me about this, and I was a firefighter for many years, and the importance of CPR becomes very well known to people that are firefighters, EMTs, police. And I will say that I think that absolutely every adult should be like if you're not CPR trained, certified, whatever, you should go learn. But when you're working on a water attraction, I think that's like kind of a different story. Like it's not just an optional thing. You really need to know that.
You think it should be required?
I think it should be required for everybody on the water attraction, but at the minimum, at least a few people working on an attraction at any time should be CPR certified.
Yeah, higher levels maybe.
From what we're reading, what we see right now, not a single person that was operating that attraction was trained in CPR.
And again, I think that probably stems from the fact that they are just mass shoving people over onto these rides, and they're not training them properly, and they're not doing these thorough training sessions with them, so they don't get not only CPR, but they don't get really general knowledge of how to operate their ride correctly, which is really unfortunate. And this shows why it's important. People, I don't need to do a training seminar. I can understand. Even like I've heard people that work at parks who are enthusiasts are like, I know how to. I'm like, but no, you don't understand everything, right? You don't understand everything that goes into operating a ride. You need to be taught these. There are these things that need to be taught for a reason, and this is exactly why. I'm sure some of these guys and girls operating this attraction just weren't explained and told how to operate the ride properly, and then when that happened, they were probably freaking out. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, which is
unacceptable, really.
I don't fault those.
No.
I don't know.
Really,
it's a breakdown of management.
I don't know really what happened either. I'm not saying that they're totally not to blame either. They very well could be, but I would expect that there were at least a few of like, I'd say 17, 18-year-olds that just started and had no idea really what to do in that situation. And I'm sure there were a few scattered in there that might have known. So there definitely could be some negligence on the part of the actual associates working it, but I have a strong feeling that probably part of the issue stems from just poor training and poor communication with your associates.
It's absolutely a management issue.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, and this is another thing that bugs me is it seems like what Adventureland keeps saying is this park has operated many, many years without a single incident. Like, first of all, stop saying that because it doesn't matter anymore. It's no longer true. You've had an incident. Yeah. You have had an incident at this point. But the problem is when they're making that statement, it's almost like they're trying to justify why they weren't prepared. And
it's almost like they're trying to say, well, yeah, we had an incident and we had a death, but we haven't before, so we're good. We're fine. We had a clean slate before, so let's let this pass. It's like it's really minimizing this boy's life and this boy's death. I mean, it's really not a cool statement, especially like right out of the gate too, right? Like maybe something you say down the line, like, yeah, this is a tragic event. We've operated for these years without an incident. Like that'd be something you kind of subtly like state. I think a few, maybe even a year down the line or something.
I mean,
just that's a fine statement to make, but to use that as like a defense mechanism is.
To me. It may be on a legal aspect, it's different, but to me, I think that's just I don't like making that statement because you've had it doesn't matter, it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
You've just had an incident.
Yeah,
I don't care how clean the record was.
Down the line, I think that's a fair statement to just make. Like yes, we had an incident, but we've operated.
Maybe
well for 40 years or however long they've been operating, and I think that's an okay statement to make way after everything's been settled. But right now, this is just not the time. It really is minimizing and just it's making the death of this boy seem insignificant, which is wrong, I think. Oh, well, yeah, he died, but we were good. We haven't had an incident. That just sounds wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I also understand that. I mean, I'm in no way taking any fault away, but I understand that from a lawyer aspect, Adventureland obviously has to be careful with what they say right now because
Oh,
the
1000%.
lawsuit is incoming.
Yeah.
I mean,
It might have even
it
happened. By the
has
time
to
we end the
happen.
show, it might have already happened.
Yeah, it has to happen. Um, One other thing I do want to mention, though, like I have seen a bunch of comments of people saying, "Well, they didn't even drain the ride," um, and I do want to mention something, and that may play into things. I don't know the local. I don't know if it was the fire chief or EMS or somebody actually had made a statement that he wasn't aware of if the ride could be drained like the quick drain or not. He wasn't aware of that, which I don't know. There's always different levels of interaction between responders and businesses and stuff like that. So maybe it also seemed though that like they weren't able to get information on like what they could do with the ride.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I do want to say though. I've seen some people say, well, they're idiots for not draining the attraction. We cannot make that statement because we don't know, we weren't there and we don't know the technical aspects of how things were sitting, where people were located, the surroundings, because there are situations where maybe draining the attraction could have made the situation worse.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard to really know which way would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to make that statement. Like we do not have the ability, and I mean when I say we, I mean anybody outside of the first responders or the park employees. We don't know. We can't say whether that was a dumb move or a smart move. For those not aware, the Raging Rapids rides, at least the ones from Intamin, have a setup where they can basically activate a quick drain,
Yeah.
and the entire ride will drain in a matter of minutes into the reservoir. And generally, all of the rafts are going to go with it. So if you're ever on a ride and you suddenly start going somewhere else that you don't think you should be going, you're probably going to the reservoir because somebody's activated a quick drain. But I mean, there's all kinds of different situations that could occur with that. So, somebody.
I don't think that necessarily solves the issue at hand. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't. I mean, the biggest problem is there was no rapid intervention. That is the absolute biggest issue. This whole problem, I would not fault. There's absolutely no way that I fault Adventureland for the raft flipping over. That's a freak accident on these rides. That's out of anybody's control.
Yes.
The fact that they were not able to quickly intervene,
yeah, their response to it
is an entirely different issue. Mm-hmm. And that's what the problem here is. It is not the fact that an accident occurred. It's the fact that there was negligence in responding to that.
Yeah, they couldn't.
Right.
React, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's always pretty much, I think, the sentiment for most of these type of accidents or any kind of occurrence, really any type of accident at all in a business. Like, it's never, oh, we lost your package. That sometimes upsets people, but it's like, oh, we lost your package and we're not going to do anything about it, right? That's what upsets people. The more like the reaction from the companies, how they respond, how they try to fix the issue at hand, that's what really aggravates people, or it could make people happy depending on how they react. So the fact that they were not on top of this, and the fact that they weren't prepared to respond accordingly to the incident, it shows, like you said, mismanagement, misleadership,
I mean, yeah,
misguidance.
you're dealing with water. You're in. I mean, drownings happen in small amounts of water.
Mhm.
You need to be, and it doesn't. So the statistic is that you lose 10% chance of living for every minute that CPR is not started. So if your heart stops and it takes a minute to start CPR, generally you have a 90% chance of surviving. If you wait 5 minutes before CPR starts, your chances are 50-50. If you wait 10 minutes or more, it's
Slim.
not likely.
It's a slim one.
And that's the situation. And I actually heard on the scanner feed that like when they actually got the pulse back on the one person, and it was a good while. And trying to just keep in mind that from the time that the scanner stuff started is already minutes after the event actually occurred.
Yeah, it's probably
because
15 minutes or 20 minutes.
I don't know if it would be that long because there were deputies in the park.
But I thought they weren't able to access the ride.
No, the deputies were able to get there, but they couldn't get any equipment back because the gate was closed.
Okay.
I mean, it took them a while to actually get there,
but
and that was
them off the ride, and
right.
I feel like that could have
Right.
been 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, I mean, it was a long while. It was a long while. But that's why quick intervention is important, and that's why being CPR trained is, because I mean, rescue is not going to get to you, you know.
So, and again, I think most importantly we need to take from this is, I imagine they didn't respond to this because they have no eyes on this area of the ride.
Well, yeah, that's exactly.
I think that's the most important thing. There should at least, at the very least, be cameras out there. I think it's better to have somebody sitting out there, again, like on a tower.
Absolutely.
But at the very least, because I feel like when you're out there on a tower, your individual responsibility is to just watch that area. When it's on a monitor, it's very easy to just kind of overlook, all these different camera angles you have. But at the very least, have a monitor, or have somebody out there watching. Because, I mean, this is what happens. And it's strange to me. I still can't really comprehend that that's not how it was set up. Because I have yet to be on a water ride where there's not at least 3 or 4 towers set up throughout the ride watching. And they're always looking back and forth and making sure. It's just like lifeguards. They're always looking left to right, making sure nobody in their area is drowning. And it's the same thing with these water rides. It should be set up the exact same way. They're monitoring their areas.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I chimed in on a couple different Reddit threads on this, and I got a response to one of my threads where somebody started explaining. I got the email alert for this comment where somebody started explaining how they have no towers and they don't have lookouts through the ride. Like, this was a ride operator for a rapids ride somewhere. I don't know where, but by time I actually went to Reddit, the comment was gone. So I'm not sure if this was somebody from Adventureland that was like, oh crap, I better not have this up there right now because of the situation, or if it was another, another rapids ride somewhere.
Sure.
But apparently there are at least some rides. I actually do recall seeing another comment somewhere.
I just find that strange that that's not a requirement. You know how Intimate or B&M, they'll build those weird structures to prevent loose articles from hitting guests on the pathways below. I know Velocicoaster required that now. Griffin at Busch Gardens Williamsburg has that above the sky ride. You'd think that's something that the manufacturer would be like, hey, can we have towers throughout this ride to make sure that we're watching it at all times? I don't know. It seems like that should be a safety requirement.
Yeah. I mean, really though, we don't really know the layout, so towers might not be possible, but somebody there. Right, exactly. And that's what I think,
or even cameras at the very least, like I said.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. One other thing I do want to mention is I think this is like there always seems to be this propensity, but like this this incident is not a referendum on Intamin because there are many of these types of rides manufactured by different companies. And one of the biggest incidents was actually on one of these rides that was built in house. So
Yeah,
this isn't something that you can go, oh, well, Intamin
intimate.
didn't take this into account. It, it's not as simple as blaming the manufacturer on this
No.
because I know people want to go back to the shoots and stuff like that where that's Intamin. There's a fault there. This is just a freak accident that can occur really on any type of ride where you don't have constant direct control of the vehicle,
Yeah.
and that's what these are. Um, so like it's not a referendum on Intamin safety. It's not even really that big of a referendum on
On
these types
Adventureland.
of rides.
Or on Adventureland, really. I mean,
Or yeah,
there.
well, yeah. The
The
flip
incident
itself is not
itself is not a.
right.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think might come out of this is we revisit whether how we operate with seatbelts on them.
Hmm.
Because I think that's one of the bigger issues in all of the times that a raft has flipped over on these attractions. The problem ends up being people not being able to get free from their seatbelts.
Yeah, and I know quite a few operate without them. So,
Yeah, so I don't know,
and and,
you know,
and I
I'm
would
not an
also.
engineer, so I can't say one way or the other, but
Yeah, you can't pinpoint the exact reasoning or non-reasoning for having them. But one other thing, and I think you probably would agree with this. Do you think this is the end? Do you think this might be the turning point for River Rapids rides? I mean, we've seen some. I mean, for
um,
crap, we saw Infinity Falls just pop
yeah, I
up.
don't think so.
Mystic
I
Rivers.
don't think I
You
don't
think
think
you
this will
think they're
be the end.
still all right?
They'll be around.
Mm-hmm.
This may
Damper some.
this may prevent more from being built as rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and some parks might change some procedures, which is good. I mean, that's the good thing that can come out of this. But
Mm-hmm. If
you
anything,
have
yeah.
to look at these rides are everywhere and they're very popular. So I can't see. I mean, we could end up seeing maybe a couple parks say, you know what, we don't really want that risk,
Yeah.
and closing the ride. But I think for the majority, I don't think this is going to
Turn them
kill
off.
this ride type. And I think some people like, well, maybe they'll come up with different fixes, or I don't really think there is a fix because I think if there was something that could have been done with all the different manufacturers that make this type of ride, somebody would have figured it out when the first one or two incidents happened this way. I mean, this is just a complete freak accident like you can't be prepared for this. What
Mm-hmm.
you can be prepared for is intervening when it does happen.
Yes.
And
Just
that's
have the
what I
proper.
right. That's what I hope we see. I hope we see not necessarily the death of these rides, but we see policies and procedures
Mm-hmm.
change to make sure parks are prepared to deal with this type of thing in the event that it happens. And most of all, stop being complacent because you can operate a ride for decades without an incident. Every single ride is incident free
Until it's
until
not.
it has an incident.
And until it's not. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Well, incident or not, Big Bad Wolf at Busch Gardens Williamsburg closed down. When was it? 2011, 2012?
It was well. Apparently, it
2000.
was before I went there.
I think it was 2010 actually. It was early 2010s. Um, and that ride, while it's gone, is still able to be enjoyed and cherished, the memory of it at least, because the train for the attraction is actually being auctioned off by Give Kids the World. The Give Kids the World Village, who we've had Stephen Amos, who's the director. He's actually, I think, the vice president now. I think he got promoted actually last time I talked to him. So he's actually higher up in the rankings now at the village. They are auctioning off a train of the Big Bad Wolf roller coaster. I think it's up to $6,000 now, which is nuts.
Last I checked
And
was
I think it's climbing rapidly. $6,300. There's 1 day left. And it's already up there. That's nuts. That is nuts.
I wonder if there's going to be a lot of bid sniping.
You think at the very end?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, something like this, I don't know if you'll really get that, but
Who knows? Really, I don't know. It's tough to tell. But yes, if you wish to purchase it, yeah, we'll have the link in the bio. Actually, by the time this episode releases, it'll be too late, Sally. But you can click on it and look and see what it actually ended up selling for, because I'm sure it'll go up. I'm sure we're not seeing the end of it quite yet.
yeah, it's I'm gonna buy this and like put it in my living room.
Yeah.
That's what I'll just do.
Yeah.
Actually,
Getting
I
up
decided
those
I decided
stairs that you
this.
have. That would be
Oh my god, there's no way that we get into.
No.
There's no way we get into
You'd
my
have to, like,
apartment.
Get one of those wrecking balls and smash your window down, and then put it in there and build it back.
I actually decided, you know what? I would really love to have a Jackrabbit car for my couch.
Oh yeah.
That is such a comfortable train.
I wouldn't mind the Wildcat at Hershey Park. That has the couch sheets. That's what they call them. Those are pretty comfortable too.
Actually, the Jackrabbit's kind of similar to that, but there's no no mechanisms in your way or anything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I still think it would have been cool to get that volcano seat and make it like an office chair or something.
yeah, that would have been cool.
Just like you turn around, it's like I don't know. For some reason, I imagine it like when the evil villain shows up and he turns around in that seat and it's like, "Welcome to my lair," in the volcano seat. Yeah. But yes, again, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Big Bad Wolf train being sold by Gift Kids the World. So, in more sad news, one of the greats, Charles Den, one of the most important engineers for the roller coaster industry of all time, most definitely, designing rides like Thunder Run at Kentucky Kingdom, Mean Streak, Cedar Point,
Raging Wolf Bob's,
Hercules at Dormitory.
The Beast. Don't forget the Beast.
He helped.
Did I mention the
collab with
Beast?
that. Yeah, he came in with other engineers and helped Kings Island build that. He also did the relocation of Phoenix to Canobles. He helped rebuild that and restore that.
And actually, I believe he was instrumental in moving Skyliner to Lakemont and moving Wild One to
Wild One.
what's currently Six Flags
And I
America.
think Wildcat at Lake Compounds as well. So he's,
Yes.
as you can see, he's done quite a bit of important and crucial work in the amusement industry. So it is sad to see him go. Lived a great life full of great achievements. He was about, I think, 78 when he passed this past Tuesday. So
You're gonna make me do math.
good long life for sure.
No, he was 88.
88. Okay.
No, 88. I think.
Alright, I was off.
88 or 89.
I was off by about 10 years then.
Yeah.
But I thought he was. I knew he was in his 70s, 80s. Either way, he lived a great life full of great achievements, and it's sad to see him pass, but we'll always remember him for what he's done. And I know he was a great man as well. So not just his roller coasters, but him as a person, he was great. So I heard he was quite a nice guy.
Yes, indeed.
So that is that. We're gonna move on to a little bit more. So
The derailment, was it a derailment? That's the question.
Yeah. Maybe Charles Din could have helped with this, determining whether or not this was a derailment or not. Because apparently Six Flags is still a little bit on edge of whether or not it was. But But despite that, the actual Department of Community Affairs reported that it was a derailment. So we have again confirmed that this was a partial derailment of El Toro. So that's two now. I think we had the actual officials come in when it originally happened and do like an incident report, and now an actual full investigation has concluded that it is a derailment. So this is a little bit of an update on El Toro. The ride will not open until the DCA is provided with a report from the ride manufacturer, again, indicating what caused the derailment of the ride and how to mitigate the issues.
The report says it was unclear exactly when it says car A6 of the train came out of their normal position on the rails.
Yes.
And it says it is unclear exactly when this happened, but the train, they said trail, but I think they meant train.
I think that's a typo.
Traveled most of the ride with the wheels in this position.
Yeah,
which
indicates
there's got to be some
track
damage.
Yeah, so I think we're looking at a yearly closure of this ride, which sucks because I was planning on getting to Great Adventure. I don't know if I want to drive 4.5, 5 hours now for just Jersey Devil and Nitro. As much as Nitro is apparently the greatest ride on earth.
Nitro is great, but that might be all you have because there's some weirdness going on with Jersey Devil too.
Yeah. So there was actually an issue with that ride as well. I think that'll be up again very soon. But if I'd gone up this past week, that would have been an issue because apparently since Tuesday or Wednesday, it's been closed.
I think it was Wednesday. Because I remember somebody saying they were there on the 6th, the evening of the 6th, and then the morning of the 7th it was closed. And the interesting thing was, according to Dan the T-shirt guy on Twitter, other RMC single rail coasters were actually closed as well.
Yeah, they have since reopened though. I think we said we heard of.
Well, I saw somebody rode Railblazer today.
Yes, so they have since reopened.
I couldn't actually find references for the last few days on Twitter, people riding Railblazer. And apparently Dan said that he had confirmed either late last night or early this morning that Wonder Woman and Railblazer were both confirmed closed on their website and their app.
Their application, yeah.
And he had said that he had heard something was coming out of Stunt Pilot is what plagued all this. But we haven't been able to confirm whether Stunt Pilot's operating. So we don't really know. There's just something
technology
weird going on.
But we can't figure out. It's pretty funny. We think we have everything at the touch of our fingers, but really we can't even figure out if a ride's open. And I would love if this was just, I tried to confirm this the same way Dan did with going to the website, but at Fiesta Texas, it's not on there. There's no, hey, temporarily closed or open or anything with Wonder Woman. So I don't know if that's still down or not.
The interesting thing, though, is apparently Great Adventure still does say on
Great
the
Adventure
website
says Jersey Devil. Mm-hmm.
That Jersey Devil is closed.
So they're fine with communicating to their guests, but Fiesta Texas is like, nah, we ain't like that. We're not about that.
Or could there be an issue with newer Raptors?
Oh yeah, that could be the case.
I mean, I don't know. This is all completely speculation, but it's a weird rumbling.
I'm pretty sure they're the same age website. They're Six Flags. I don't think they just Fiesta Texas, you get a brand new site here. Yeah, that's possible. It's very possible. I don't know. It's definitely all theoretical at this point. We don't really know of anything in depth.
I mean, it's kind of weird for why we know Jersey Devil has definitely been closed for a few days here. Why? That's kind of
But it's been having issues maintaining its operating status for a while. I've heard. When Daniel and Timmy and Alex went, they said it has been closed part of the day and.
Well, yes, but it always comes back up. It's just working out bugs. But
this long extended closures is a bit odd, but. Yeah, I don't know if that automatically, in my opinion, locks it in as something more than it just being closed for an issue. But it's possible. And again, the fact that it seems other RMC Raptors are not operating necessarily at the same time frame is it's suggestive, I think, of there being maybe a more more to the story. So I don't know. I can't. I don't want to confirm or deny. Obviously, we don't know anything. So,
No, we can't. We don't know for sure. We
but
tried. We tried to get
if I had to
confirmation.
take a side, I'd probably say it's just a coincidence, and that even if the I don't know. I think
Uh,
it's
I don't know. RMC doesn't have. This isn't an attack on the rides, but they
they're
don't
not the best track
necessarily
record.
have the best track record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's fair, and we saw it with Steel Vengeance and Twisted Timbers. Like when one went down, the others had to go down for some reason. That's like their pattern. Like even if Twisted Timbers is fully capable of operating, that year that in 2018 when they both opened, when Steel Vengeance went down, Twisted Timbers went down. When there was a locker issue at Steel Vengeance, I remember they had to bring that to Twisted Timbers. So there's always seems like RMC one. I don't know if that could have been just a Cedar Fair thing, but it seems like more likely if that's the case with these rides too, that that's an RMC thing maybe. And I don't know. I'm kind of debating it in my mind as is right
Well,
now.
I mean, nobody could even really decide who could safely ride Twisted Timbers in the beginning because my niece was clearly tall enough. They let her in the line, and she got kicked off because she was too skinny. Like that, it was
Yeah.
such a weird beginning for that. Like it just, yeah. RMC may have really fun rides, but their reliability and especially their opening track record just is not good. So
No.
I don't know. It's
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely the case. So I don't know. I kind of lean more in I'm kind of more in the middle, really, on this. I think it's very possible we're seeing an issue at foot, and RMC saying, "Hey guys, hold off on your Raptors for now. We're gonna come in and check it out." Um, but I don't know. I feel like it also could just be coincidence. It's hard to tell. It's really hard to gauge. But that's not really in the news for this week. That was just kind of a
that
theoretical.
was actually an on-topic rabbit trail. Does
It
that
was.
count
It was. It was
for
on
anything?
topic for sure. Um, and as much as we keep joking about it, it really does seem to me, Bob. I think I might have specifically stated this last week, but I'm going to reiterate it. I think God is mad at the coaster industry or Mother Nature, who's ever in control of our universe, is really heated at the coaster and roller coaster amusement park industry because it's just freak accident after freak accident after freak accident occurring in the industry. It seems lately. So
It's weird stuff.
it's weird.
Weird stuff.
Uh, I guess not too strange. I mean, it is weird, but it's not definitely not this. We're gonna get to a stranger one in a bit. But a carnival ride, a fair ride at the National Cherry Festival, um, actually was the structure. I don't really know what that entails. I don't know what the structure in this case was. People were joking about maybe being milk, like those crates that store milk. I don't know what that entails, but the structure was not sound, and it actually caused the ride to um, become off balance and actually start tipping over and shaking rapidly. There were people standing on the attraction, and it was
Yeah, this is an interesting event.
yeah, it was, and yeah, like I said, people were standing, they were pushing, they were holding the ride to ensure it did not completely capsize and flip over. Uh, it's nuts. It's the most carnival and fair thing I've ever seen. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is just like, wow, this is why I don't typically go to carnivals and fairs. The only thing I go to like state fairs because I feel those are often more regulated and more inspected. I mean, the state's involved. It's a pretty big deal to have like a Virginia State Fair, New Jersey State Fair, or Pennsylvania State Fair, whatever. But when like these small counties and small festivals appear, that's where I start to go. Who's really checking these rides to be the most safe they can be? I don't know. And yet again, we saw ride
Yeah.
malfunction here.
I'm always I still go to fair. Well, I mean, let's be honest. My two
Yeah,
favorite flat rides are the
our
Zipper and the
fair rides.
Gravitron,
Yeah,
and that's the only place that I could ride them. And yeah, I have to get lucky and find them. But
I'm hesitant
I
to go to fairs,
the only
to say the
thing
least.
I mean, it's something it's good. It's in the back of my mind at times.
Riding
But
the
I
zipper,
will
you're
say
like,
this
wow, I could really just this whole structure could just come out from underneath me.
again.
But that's part of the
The
thrill,
one thing
right?
the one thing that I will not ride at a fair though is a pendulum ride. I
Yeah.
love pendulum rides, but I mean,
You've
there's
seen
also
too
been a
many
lot of
incidents.
accidents with those, but I mean, it's just just physics says that really needs to be locked into the ground. I mean, that's throwing a lot of weight. I mean, any child that's been on a swing set and had it start pumping, just bump, bump, you know, the posts
Yeah.
come out of the ground. Like any child can figure out that this, um, this is kind of a little frightening. Those are the only ones that I won't ride.
hmm
Other than that, I'll generally ride stuff unless something looks really sketchy.
I understand. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really had the opportunity to go to a fair other than the state fair recently, but let's just say I might go, but it's going to be under great. I'm going to be very cautious with what I ride. Um, yeah, so I don't know. It depends. I have to really examine because I know it sounds kind of like what enthusiasts always go. Oh, it's GP to say things aren't safe, but amusement parks are 100% safe. We know that they are monitored at all times. They are regulated by government. They have these very very strict safety protocols in place, and that can't be said for these fairs and
Yeah,
carnivals all
most
the
states
time.
actually don't hold carnivals anywhere close to the
Yeah.
same standards that amusement parks do.
So I mean, it's kind of notorious that accidents and like these kind of freak occurrences
Now,
happen at
I
carnivals and fairs.
I do think it's also important to point out though that even though there's been accidents and more accidents than at amusement parks, um, your chances are still a lot
Yes,
lower than it seems like.
yes,
Um,
but
so we're not here to invoke fear into you. We're
no,
just
you can
talking.
still go to the carnivals, but like what I'm gonna do is just check, make sure, see if I'm comfortable with it. Um,
The most important thing is to find
honestly,
out who the operator is. Who,
yeah,
like, because there's different carnival operators and fair operators that come and find
yeah,
out, like, when you go somewhere, find out who's operating that and find out what their track record is. You can't just go by, oh, well, I
it's a
went to
fair.
this county fair. Well, from year to year, they may choose to have a different operator bring rides in. So it's important to go by the operator, the ride operator,
Sure,
whatever company that may
sure.
be.
Yeah, and then just again, it's a personal decision. Check out the ride,
Yeah,
see
absolutely.
how you feel. That's typically what, if I was ever going to a fair, my mindset would be. And again, not really state fairs. I think state fairs are held to a higher standard than these smaller little carnivals that
Well,
pop
I
up
think
here
that
and
could
there.
depend on that depends on the state though. I mean, the biggest pendulum
Yeah, that was at the
issue was actually at the
yeah,
Ohio State Fair. So
indeed, that's fair. But I think overall, at least based on my experience, like the Virginia State Fair, it's very very regulated. I know. So I don't know. That's just my take from it. So yeah. Again, this is an attraction, and it had a structural issue, and no one was injured, no one was hurt. They did have to cut the power, so I'm curious about that comment. I know we kind of briefly discussed. I don't think it was an e-stop. You think it might have been an e-stop.
yeah, I
They
don't really
specifically
know
said the
for
power was
sure.
cut, and to me that is different than an e-stop. That is most definitely not what an e-stop entails.
Well, but
But are they
see, you're
misunderstanding
also.
it? Yes, possibly.
I mean, the thing is this is a cheaper version of the 1001 Knox, so not knots, however you pronounce it. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, literally, their e-stop literally could have been push the button and it just cuts power. I mean, that's in many cases that's what an e-stop essentially does, even though there's different
I
computer
mean,
controls. But like on a simple ride, you're looking at just cut the power and like I don't even know if there are brakes on it. I mean, I'm sure there's holding brakes, but I don't know if that they're designed to actually stop that ride.
Yeah, I don't think
I
so.
don't know. That would be a question for the engineers. I mean, for all we know, like this is all based on the fact that the lights went out. So for all we know is the thing shook itself enough to like knock the plug out of the lights. We don't
Yeah,
really know for sure
no, we
what it
don't.
was. So
But based on that comment, at least from me, I still don't necessarily think it was an e-stop. Um, and based on the video itself, I don't really know if I think it's an e-stop. But even if it was, um, that was the attempt. There was to cut power, was to get the ride stopped, and again, there was assistance from just pedestrians along the fairgrounds there helping out to to ensure the ride did not capsize completely and cause any injuries, which is great, which is awesome to see because I think most of these people were just not affiliated with the riders, so they were just walking by and saw an opportunity to help, which is great. Like that. Sometimes things like that restore my faith in humanity. To be honest, Bob.
yeah,
To be quite honest, it's
yes,
like this whole group of people came over and was really standing and pushing and holding and really trying to help. Which I saw some comments like, "Oh, that was stupid," and I'm like, "Come on." In that instance, are you really just? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna walk by? Are you gonna stand there and watch? I mean, you're gonna try to help, hopefully, right? That should be
that's
your
one of those
first
things where I don't know
instinct.
if you could predict how you're gonna
Yeah,
react.
exactly. That even if it isn't looking back on it the most rational decision, if you like in terms of your own safety, that is hopefully your first response is to help all of those stuck on the ride and possibly being injured by the ride. You'd think, right? Hopefully that's most of your first reactions to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my take on that at least scenario.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, and we don't really even know if that actually did anything. It may have. It's hard
No,
to
we
say
don't.
for sure,
But
but
just
like,
the offer, just
but
the
just seeing. I mean, it's highly possible that it did too. I mean, because you
I
have the whole leverage effect.
I
So
think it's the quantity of people mattered. Like if it was one or two people, but it was like 10 people trying to help out. I think that definitely did something. Whether or not
yeah,
whether or not it was the most helpful action, as opposed to cutting the power or whatever, maybe it wasn't, but I think it definitely did something, for sure. So that's awesome. Hopefully, those people feel good about what they did. So yeah, uh, freak accidents, Bob. Freak accidents after freak accidents occurring.
yeah. We still have one more coming up here
We
too.
do. But right before we get to that, a ride that we talked about, I think last year, the retheming of Mindbender at Six Flags Over Georgia. Not really the retheming, excuse me. Um, just the TLC of it, the 1011 care, repainting it, giving it a new sign, um, just making it look more attractive in the eyes of the park. I think it looks worse, honestly, and I think the sign looks worse, having been to Six Flags Over Georgia. But in the eyes of the park, apparently they think this is ideal. They think this is the ride they want showcasing right at their front. This is like the right at the front gate there where you're going to be walking past it. Um, so it is completely ready to be ridden. Apparently, they have tested it. They are testing it currently. Not being ridden. It's capable of being tested now. So for those of you that don't know, last year at this time, even earlier this year when I went, it was disassembled. They had pieces of the track not connected. So like the first drop was just missing, and other sections of the ride were missing. It is fully intact and ready to be tested because it is now currently being tested. That's what we have for you. A link to an Instagram video where the ride is actually fully operating around the course, and so that is that. It should be operational. I would say. I mean, if they're looking at opening it this year, it'll be operational this year. If not, maybe they wait till next year. I don't know what their plans are, but I think here soon it could be fully ready to open, depending on whether or not they want to open it, though.
There's a good chance it'll open before Iron Gwazi.
I bet my money on it. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then free accident after free accident. Let's go back to that though. The Fox. What did the fox say, Bob? He said, "I'm gonna bite
The
you."
big bad fox.
Yeah, he said, "I'm gonna huff and puff and bite people on Apollo's chariot." So, two people, an adult and a child, were bitten on a ride at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I think it was Apollo's chariot, if I'm not mistaken.
Were they on the ride? Were they on a ride? I
I don't
thought
think
they
they
were.
were on the ride, but I think it was by the ride or stationed near the ride. I don't know exactly where it occurred, but I believe it was Apollo's chariot. But a rabid fox, actually bit them, and they had to go to the hospital for treatment.
Yeah, they were attacked by it at Busch Gardens.
Yes.
No word on the condition of those attacked. It
Indeed.
doesn't actually say where they were at. It doesn't say anything about it. It was just
All right. Well, all the images are of Apollo's chariot, so I guess maybe I just thought of that of being the like all the select time. What is it called? The thumbnails. Sorry, are of like Apollo's chariot.
Yeah,
So
and I think
I
that's
guess I just assumed that. I guess it's
I
not
think
safe to
that's
say
just
that as
because
for sure,
they
but I actually
I think
linked.
they just had stock photo is all that was.
I linked actually on the show notes now, not just the article, which is important and strange and abnormal to see a fox obviously biting someone at a park, but BGW fans did a great job with a Photoshop of the sign of the big bad wolf and actually edited it and repurposed it to say the big bad fox. And I thought that was comedic genius.
Yes, indeed.
So that's linked to the show notes in the show notes. So check that out. And that does it for this part of the show. We're gonna move on to the second part where we're talking about a trip to Kennywood for Bob and a trip to Six Flags America and Adventure Park USA for me. Also included in next part of the show will be our favorite drop towers as well as the audience's responses to that poll. Thank you guys so much. And never mind. I'm doing the wrong part of the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Thank you guys so much. Goodbye.
Or not.
No second part of the show. I was lying. But yes, we'll be talking about all of that in the next part of the show. To that poll. But yeah. As the audience's responses to that poll. But yes, we'll be talking about all of that in the next part of the show. Alright. I hate to do this to you, but I really gotta eat something.
Well then.
The end has come. That was the last straw. Bob's done.
You better hurry up because Cam has to go to bed.
Cam, go to bed. I won't eat the full meal. I'll just grab something quick.
I'm a little bit jealous of you going to Knoebels. I'm debating going to Hershey though. I might see you there. Depends on how I feel. Is your whole family going or just your brother? Okay. I need to get on Storm Runner again. I was thinking about trying to see if there's a way to get my niece there too, but I'm not sure if I can work out the logistics of that. Have you been to Knoebels before, Cam? Or is this going to be your first time? You're going to love it. It's a great park. I love it so much. Phoenix is amazing. Twister's amazing. Impulse is amazing. Flying Turns is amazing, but I'm not sure if that's open yet. The Flyers are amazing. Make sure you ride Cosmotron. Do not skip Cosmotron.
Are you going to Hershey Park?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. I don't know. Depends on how I feel.
I wish you guys wouldn't go on a weekday. I mean a weekend.
I don't. I didn't plan anything.
I know. I wasn't talking to you. Sorry, I was talking about Pam and them. Yeah, Flying Turns is still down. I don't know if that was a question or a statement. Let's see.
I had said I wasn't sure. He was just responding to me.
Oh yeah, it is. I saw someone say something about that. You know what was funny, Bob?
What's that?
A bit of situational irony. I was defending Impulse the other day. Somebody commented and said it was like really bad and they hated the restraints too. Like they just wrote it yesterday or the day before. And I was like, no, it's not that bad.
I don't know why people hate it. I really like it.
It was like the people that hate it, me who's okay with it, and then you that loves it. Who I talked to said, and I quote, "It's super shaky and the restraints are not nice."
See me in a rattle?
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
It's noticeable, but I don't think it's really bad.
I mean, I'm not saying there's not one, but it's not. It doesn't.
I don't think it affects the ride.
Mm-mm.
Phoenix is a good 100.
Yes, it definitely is.
Do you remember your 100? Didn't you get your 100? Do you remember what your 100th was? I think you put it down on the list.
Son of Beast.
Oh, yeah. Mine was Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit didn't even exist when I was getting my 100th. Good lord.
What? Are you looking at your top
Adventureland
25?
No, Adventureland apparently doesn't have a good track record.
Like in terms of incidents, like they said?
Yeah.
So they're not 40 years free?
No, they were fined in 2018.
Has the park reopened? I mean, do they reopen?
I don't think the park ever closed.
Yeah, I didn't know if it had or not. I didn't know if they closed the doors. Are you ready to do the second half? Let's get this through. I gotta go to bed.
Yep.
Or I'm going to die. I know you said you had a lot to talk about with Kennywood, but
No, I don't really have a lot. It was more of a
hyperbole. And then,
it was more forceful than length.
okay.
That makes sense. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2.
Kennywood, Bob, is where you went this past Thursday, actually. So while we were supposed to be recording the show, you were marathoning Phantom's Revenge, right?
Yeah. Well, so we had mini marathons of everything. Actually, it. I'll tell you, man. My family just decided. Like, remember, my family lives in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Hey, we want to go on Thursday. Can you come up?" And I said, "Okay." Like, I didn't really look into anything. Usually, when I plan, like, unless I'm planning a big trip, like if it's a short little trip, I look at the weather and all this stuff. I'm like, well, you know what? They must have looked at all of that, right?
Yeah.
So I wake up way early, and I get ready and I walk outside, and it's sprinkling. Not raining real hard, but I'm like, this just looks like a crappy day. But remember, I'm in West Virginia. I'm in Martinsburg. I'm a good ways away from Pittsburgh. So I'm like, oh, it's gonna get better. No. The closer I got to Pittsburgh, the worse it got. When I like right probably about 10 miles from my parents' house, it just started pouring. Like just dumping. I'm like, why in God's name are we going to Kennywood? On our way to Kennywood, it poured. When we got to Kennywood, it was still raining. Not hard, but it was still raining. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
just a little
oh
bit.
man. And then like we were there for a half hour and it stopped. And it was like pretty much clear the rest of the day until an hour before close, when it like the skies opened up, the lightning came down everywhere. It was it was scary actually. But the thing was, it's like I guess it's just scared everybody away because the longest wait we had was maybe 2 trains. And that's not an exaggeration. It literally was like, and that was because we just wanted to wait for like the front or back seat or something. But my nephew got his 51st credit,
Yeah.
and the reason why we did a 51st celebration is because we didn't realize he got his 50th when we went to Six Flags Great Adventure. So his 50th was actually the whatever the mine train, yeah, whatever it is
I think it's
there.
Runaway Mine
So
Train or something like that.
yeah, maybe. So we made a. Well, my sister helped him make a sign that says, "Since my 50th was a silly mine train, this is my 51st," or
I
something
swear to
like
God, that
that.
sounded like 511.
It did. It did.
I was like, man,
It kind of
he
did.
caught up to us real quick, didn't he? He's gone. Pam who?
He even
Yeah.
crushed me.
Yeah, he dominated.
Yeah, it was a 51 and an exclamation mark. But yeah, so he got that on Phantom's Revenge, which he absolutely loved. And I loved the fact that we were driving to Kennywood and he started telling me coaster facts. My mom had said that he basically has been like on the internet a lot, just looking up roller coasters. And he said, "Did you know that Phantom's Revenge is only 3 feet shorter than Voyage?" And I was like, what just happened? But the funny thing about this was he's kind of somewhat afraid of heights. So I think that if it was 3 feet higher than Voyage, he probably wouldn't have rode it. I didn't tell him about the drop until he was all
Yeah.
buckled in. The restraints were locked, and I said, "Oh, by the way, LJ,
This thing is
even though the height's only that, do you know there's a 230-foot drop?" He just looked at me like, "Why didn't you tell me?" But he loved it. He loved it so much. Like every free moment, he wanted to come back to it. Still curtain. The vibration has maybe gotten a tiny bit more intense, but it's still the weird. Like I wouldn't call it a rattle. It's a vibration. I don't know. It's so
Yeah.
weird. It's so weird.
okay.
I
think I understand.
But other than that, it was running great. Ops were fairly good. I mean, Phantom and Steel Curtain only had one train each, but they didn't need, they legitimately did not need two trains. Like I am not upset about that at all. Jackrabbit was still running two trains. Like we didn't wait for anything. It was crazy. But everything was running pretty good. I mean, Kennywood has done a lot of TLC. I have to say that things were better than I was expecting them to be. However,
They're not without their faults.
as seems to always be the case, every time Kennywood takes a step forward in my eyes, they take a huge leap backwards. So you might remember that I bought a platinum pass for Palace.
Yes.
And my home park is Dutch Wonderland because it's the closest one to me. So I walk up to the gate with my Dutch Wonderland pass, and they scanned it, and they said, "Your pass isn't valid." I said, "It most certainly is valid." They said, "No, it's not." And then they turned it over and saw it was Dutch Wonderland. They said, "Oh, you have to go over to guest services and get a ticket." I'm like, what? It's a huh? Yep. So in order to visit another Palace park outside of your home park, you actually have to go to guest services to get your free ticket to enter for that day. Which
ridiculous.
wasn't a big deal because they weren't busy, but
Imagine
what the
they're
heck?
not busy though. Yeah, imagine it's the couple,
Right, if
like,
they are
couple
busy,
20
like, oh
minutes,
my
30
God.
minute lines, and you're
Oh man.
just trying to get in the
So
park.
then it got worse because in the park, my pass wouldn't scan. I wasn't getting any of my discounts because my pass wasn't valid at Kennywood. And I went to guest services and they said, "Well, you don't get those discounts outside of your home park. You just get admission and free parking." Which Kennywood has free parking anyway, so I don't really care. I mean, I don't even know if I get free premier parking. If like
Yeah.
what I have no idea.
I I don't even know if
But
they
I
have like
happen
a
to like
exclusive lot. Yeah.
but anyway, so like I walk around the corner and there happens to be three employees with three different types of shirts all talking. And I walked up to them and I said, "Are any of you supervisors?" And two of them were. And I explained it and they said, "Well, your past according as far as they knew, I should get my discount at every Palace Park."
hmm
Um Apparently nobody understands fully what's going on, but according to the official Palace stance, according to the people in the actual guest services department, they actually said, no, you only get your discounts at your home park.
So they've taken
Anything,
SeaWorld to a whole nother level. Not only do
oh
you
my
not get
God,
your
it's,
discount, not only do you
I'm,
have to, you don't get as much discounts, you don't get any discounts.
yeah, I mean, it like, yeah, it's now, I do want to say this. Serious props to these employees because they handled my complaint very well. They were very professional about it. And they actually even also gave me a certificate for free food, um, for a complete free meal,
Mm, yeah,
which it's not insignificant. I mean, that actually made I was really happy about that.
yeah,
Um,
good guest
and
relation.
they actually took a full report from me and they're going to follow up and somebody should be contacting me within a week about it. um, but like I told them, like the only reason why I went to Dutch Wonderland is because it was the closest park to me. Like if I would have known this, I would have ended up getting Kennywood first. Well, I probably wouldn't have bought a pass, let's be
Yeah,
honest. um, but if I did, I would end up I would have bought it at Kennywood because that's where I'm probably out of all of the parks, that's probably where I'm going to do the most.
and utilize it the
I mean,
most.
and yeah, like I may I may go to Dutch Wonderland more, but those visits are literally going to be walk in, ride Merlin's Mayhem, walk out and continue on to Hershey Park. Like that's literally all I'm going to do at Dutch Wonderland. So I don't need discounts there really. Like I want them at Kennywood where I'll be spending more of a day, you know.
Sure, yeah, makes sense.
Um so yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with Palace about this. Like,
That's a
you know,
terrible setup, I think, for sure, for a pass. Especially
yeah,
for a
and if
pass
you
that's a multi-park pass. Without stating
right,
that, right? That,
exactly.
that should be a
Well,
statement.
and that's the thing that gets really confusing because I'm like, well, look, I pulled up the Dutch Wonderland site and I said, look, it doesn't say that it's only for Dutch Wonderland. And they said, well, here, look at the Idlewild site. The Idlewild site says it's only for Idlewild. I'm like, well, I don't have an Idlewild pass,
Well,
do I?
Zippity Doo Dah for Idlewild. I didn't. That's not my pass. Yeah.
And the bizarre thing about this was, I'm sure if you go back a couple years into our archives, you'll hear me talk about John Riley, like when he took over, like basically right after taking the position with Palace, he was at Coaster Bash and he spoke, and he actually, like somebody asked Nick Paradise a question about the PA Parks Pass, that it got weird with trying to get their discounts across the parks because they had to jump through all these hoops to get them.
Uh huh.
And when John Rowley stood up, this was the first he heard about it because he had only been in the company for like a week or two or something like that. The first thing he said is, right off the bat, I'm telling you right now, that's going to change. You should be getting your discounts at all of the parks. So it's even more bizarre to me after hearing that, not seeing anything on the website about it being specific to your home park. I I don't know.
I think that's ridiculous and that's uncalled for. That's
Yeah, I
definitely.
just
I feel like guest services should be, especially having pulled up all these websites, that should be a major issue on their part. They should be taking that line. I'm glad the supervisors and those that you talk to outside of guest services were great, but it seems like guest services should be the ones going, oh, wow, it does on their Idlewild website say that it's only limited to that, but then on our Dutch Wonderland site it says the complete opposite. So that should be something that they are like, oh, we apologize for that. we're gonna fix it, even if it is like we're fixing it to make sure it's universally saying you only get discounts at your home park. Just making sure that stance is conveyed to the public and to the
Right.
people purchasing the passes. Yeah, that's quite ridiculous.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. It was. I was so.
I was
so
upset about the
furious.
SeaWorld thing, but that would have taken me to a whole other level had I bought a platinum pass at the Palace Parks.
Yeah, I just. I'm not happy about that. I mean, the supervisors were in. They were incredibly nice and helpful. Like they did what they had power to do.
Yeah, I get it.
Obviously they can't just like fix the whole system. Like that is clearly with
Yeah,
like
that's
not
a
they
little bit
can't
above
they
their
can't
job
do
title.
that. But yeah, I mean it's just and the thing that's bizarre to me is there's like one of the other people there actually had said that there's other weird things going on. She said that if you like people that activate passes at Kennywood, those passes were scanning at Sandcastle, but if they activated a pass at Sandcastle, they weren't working at Kennywood. And like she said, there were like all kinds of bizarre things happening with the computers. Like,
That's
and
so odd. They
I
just seem to
mean,
have an issue with their pass system
but
in
like,
general, like the whole chain.
and it's July.
Yeah, this should be.
Like, it's not like it just opened.
This is the peak of the season for you guys. This should be dealt with early on. I don't. Yeah, it's odd, and it seems like this has been. You've brought up issues that Kennywood's had before with passes. Like, I don't understand why this isn't something that they've dealt with and figured out in the past and have kind of troubleshooted at this point. It's odd. It's odd. Yeah, it's outrageous though that you don't get your discounts at all the parks, especially with the platinum pass. Like that's when it's
Yeah.
multi-park pass. That's just expected. It's the same thing with SeaWorld. I expect to get my full discount since that's stated, and you expect to get discounts in general since that is kind of the
Right,
precedent.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there's some things they were clear about, like the winter events. I only get 3. Wait, no. How? Maybe I don't get anything. I don't know. It was clear that the winter events
Like
were
they
different,
said, yeah, they specifically
and
stated
like I
it.
knew that up front. I wasn't necessarily happy about it, but I agreed to it, and it was okay. Like it was still worth the
Regardless
value.
of that,
Right.
you
I knew
still
that I would
purchased
be
the
going,
pass.
like I could go to Dutch Wonderland's winter event, but I probably couldn't go to Kennywood's or something like that. And like I knew that up front, and that's, I expected that. I also knew like souvenir bottle. Well, that's the other thing. Like I don't like I apparently I get a free souvenir bottle, but I don't know where like I never got one at Dutch Wonderland because when I was there it was atrocious. But like I don't
And
know
if you
like
got it there, I
apparently that
mean, you said you go once on like a little
well
trip. Would you really
yeah,
be using
yeah,
it that
yeah.
much?
So like that's the other thing. Like I didn't even realize that was a thing. I hate those things anyway.
Yeah,
I hate
I'm not a
carrying the
fan.
cup around. I'm not a fan of that at all. But honestly though, like I there's a lot of Kennywood that I was really impressed with. Um Things were a lot better than they were like as far as being in the park experience, things were a lot better than they had been in a long time. So I give them props for that. And I do think John Riley has been doing a good job of making sure a lot of the TLC stuff that's been kind of missed,
And neglected.
is kind of I think he's kind of like picking up on that and taking care of that stuff, which is definitely a good thing because it was definitely needed. But they need to get this pass thing figured out, and bring back the kangaroo because the queue is still there. The ride operator building is still there.
Come on, bring it back.
Yep, that's what they need to do.
That would that restore your faith in the park?
I honestly, if Kennywood fixed this pass issue, or if Palace fixed this pass issue, and Kennywood brought back the kangaroo, I would be happy with Palace.
That's all they got to do.
Yeah, I think that would be fair. I mean, sure, I'd like to see. I think removing the paratrooper was just as dumb. I think that should be there too because it's a simple ride and people love it. It was kind of a staple ride for the park, especially during the winter event.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, the thing with the kangaroo is that was the ride that they were known for, and it was the only one in existence, and
Mm.
people really loved that ride a lot. And the removal of that was just unreal.
Hmm.
And it just feels so weird having this whole area where there's nothing.
It's like a void. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I mean there's paths and stuff, but it's just kind of like I don't know.
Empty. Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels like I don't know. The other thing that was weird, Cosmic Chaos and the pirate ship were both closed. That was a little frustrating, but
Mm.
we could deal with it. That.
Are you a fan of
But all
Aero
the
360? Or you don't like? Do you like those type
oh,
of
we actually rode
rides?
that.
Yeah, I
Yes,
like
I
that
like
ride.
it. I like it. We rode it. Walked right on it. We walked. We literally walked right on everything. Still
I
curtain
believe it.
included.
I believe it. Yeah.
Like one train still curtain. We literally walked right up and got in line for the seat. Like we were the
yeah,
next train. The
yeah,
next train.
I
It
believe it.
was crazy.
Mm.
It was crazy awesome though.
Yeah, that's why when you said earlier you woke up and it was drizzling and you're like, oh, this kind of sucks. While it does suck, it honestly is the best time to visit parks. Rain is
Oh
always
yeah.
always the best time to visit parks.
But I mean, let's be honest. If it rained all day, it would have sucked because Phantom's Revenge and Steel Curtain are not rides you want to ride in the rain.
Yeah, I mean it's not ideal, but I would still be lapping them.
Not the rain that we we saw. Oh, I mean, there were also storms in the area, but it was just like
Yeah, thunder and
it
lightning was
turned out
different, obviously,
perfect.
but I don't mind rain, even heavy rain. I rode Millennium Force in the pouring rain, like,
No,
and
I don't like that at all.
yeah, yeah, that was quite an experience. And I rode it like 30 times. It was ERT. It was kind of nuts, drenched, but I loved it. So I took a trip this past week. I was a little bit before you went to Kennywood. I was up at Six Flags America. Um, got Alex, a friend of both of ours, to the park. Finally, he got all the credits there, except for Joker's Jinx. Joker's Jinx actually, um, while we were in line, broke down. There was a loud snapping noise, like a loud bang, like bang, and I don't know what that was. Honestly, I think if I think it was an LIM, I think it was something to do. Maybe it was a like a capacitor
Capacitor,
or
maybe. Yeah.
yeah, or stator. I don't know necessarily what it was, but maintenance had to come over. They closed the ride down for the rest of the day. It never reopened. As long as we were there, it wasn't reopened. Um, I kid you not, the maintenance team there is it's quite a funny group of guys. I
Oh,
had a
I
guy.
love them though. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome. One of them, like completely from a safety standpoint, was a kind of a freak. He like hurtled over this gate that was locked. I mean, it was one of those. I mean, it was an openable gate, and he just hurtled right over it, which I thought was kind of odd. But yeah, that was funny. I don't know what the issue was with that ride. I don't know if it's reopened since. I imagine it has, but um, yeah, that was the issue for that with that ride for the day. We kept waiting and waiting and waiting for it to reopen, and it wouldn't. We got on Superman. Alex loves that. I still like that ride a lot. It's good. Batwing. I, I like Batwing quite a bit, but I like the B&M Flyers better for sure. I love
Nope.
Batwing, but the B&M Flyer,
I'll
yeah,
I'll take a Flying Dutchman any day over the B&M Flyer.
no,
Yeah,
no.
I
I mean, it really is. It's
and
not.
that
It's
is not to say the B&M Flyer is bad. I really do enjoy the B&M Flyer, but if I had to pick one, I would pick the Flying Dutchman.
mm, yeah. I don't know. I just prefer flying for the majority of the ride. and I don't know. I'm not a fan of being on your back's a bit odd for like the first part of the ride. I like, I don't mind it, but it's definitely I like being in that flying position at all times on the flyers, which is cool. Um, I do like the vertical loop on the Flying Dutchman's quite a bit. That's probably the best part of those rides.
Yeah, it is.
But I'd say the pretzel loop on the B&M Flyer surpasses even that. So
No,
that
that's
pretzel loop,
that is a good one. That is good as well.
yeah.
I actually think that going up the lift hill and sitting on the brake run, I actually would rather be on my back than in the flying position.
No, I'm not. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I like it. But I mean, during the ride itself,
Honestly, to be honest, I'm not a fan
is
of
you're
either. I'm not a
flying
fan
in
of
both.
being in the sitting or I don't like being on my back or being like in the flying position, especially when I'm like stuck on the brake run. I mean, once I was at Carowinds on Nighthawk, it was like 400 degrees outside, and it was like we were sitting there face up in the sun, and I thought I was gonna die. I feel a heat stroke. And then at the same time, I rode Manta at SeaWorld Orlando. We were stuck on the brake run for like 10 or 15 minutes just because the ops on that ride are sometimes really, really
Oh, I
slow.
would have a headache from my
And I
neck.
was like, oh my god, this sucks. So both rides, I'm not a fan of, particular fan of the position you're in while on the brake run. I don't mind the lift hills really either because it's like it's pretty temporary and you're up the lift hill pretty quickly. But yeah, brake run, both positions suck in my mind. Really, I'm not a fan really of either. I just want to get into the station and get back into the regular
Yeah.
position, get back into my regular position. So, um, but yeah, I love the Dutchman's, but I'm definitely a flyer guy. Um, Trying to think. We rode Wild One. Still love Wild One. That's a great ride. I still don't get your Roar hype. I like Roar, but it's nothing
I
exceptional.
love it. I love Roar.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. I mean, it was alright. It was fun. It wasn't excellent, really. But we rode that like that. Firebird, still think is pretty dang smooth and glossy.
I never said
I
it
know,
wasn't
I know.
smooth.
It's the smoothest B&M in Ireland.
I said it kills my
I
head.
still don't get any head banging,
Oh,
which I think is
I'm
initiated
getting a
from
headache just thinking
the
about it.
profiling of those corkscrews, which I don't find to be bad. I don't know. So yeah, that is about it. From we rode Raging Cajun, which honestly, to be honest, I remember hating the hell out of that ride and like wanting to vomit on the ride. It spun a crap ton. Like we would not stop spinning. It was like we were like one of those tops that you spin on the ground. Like it was flying. But I honestly, for I don't know why, was not at all impaired by that. Like it didn't bother me at all. Like, and that's strange because I hate spinning rides and I hate really that spinning motion. Honestly a lot of times nauseates me quite a bit. So it was odd to me that I actually enjoyed my ride on Raging Cajun. I thought I was going to get off of that and go, ugh, and oh, I hate that. Why did I ever do that? But no.
Don't ever ride it by yourself.
Yeah, we saw some people flying around.
Oh
Like,
my God.
yeah.
The first time I rode that, I literally fell over when I got off the train.
Mm.
Like, and that's the only time that's ever happened to me on a ride. But I was going so fast that the brake run didn't stop me from spinning. So I sat in the pre-exit stage, I guess you call it, and I literally just sat there spinning full force, just spinning in circles. Oh, it was bad. It was real bad.
Oh man. And then lastly, I got on Mind Eraser again, and I still really like that ride for some reason. I need to get back on T3. I think I might actually enjoy it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just changing my view on rides and attractions and like have just become more accustomed to like yeah, Mind Eraser has some weird elements and they do snap into weird motions and I can see where they might cause a headbang here and there. But I really was not at all bothered by any of the ride at all, and nothing really injured me or hurt me like it like it did the first time. I swear I read it and I
Oh,
was like coming off with pain, but
now SLCs are fun in themselves.
I like
It's
Mind
just there
Eraser.
is some headbanging.
I didn't get really
Um,
any, which is I'm surprised by. Which is kind of hard because they
but
they put the. I mean, it's hard not to because they put those huge, especially on Mind Racer, they put those huge over the shoulder restraints that for some reason they thought
Yeah.
that hey, if we put these plastic, they're not really plastic, but if we put these like phone restraints next to your head, somehow that's gonna not have any hit. I don't understand the logic behind that. Like, let's put bigger
Well,
and more padding on your head that's
the
still gonna
logic
cause to
is
the head banging.
the logic is to hold your head still so it can't move.
But-
But the problem is nobody's head is the same exact size.
Nobody's head is that
So-
big. I mean, that has to be
Well,
fair.
that's the thing because they have to have it far enough away to accommodate. Like, that's the whole problem with it. It doesn't like.
So I think in that case, if as an engineer you
They
see
should-
that, you see that
They
fault
should just
in
give
the
you
line
a
system,
pillow to put in. Yeah, it's
you
it's
know,
just
I don't know. I think that's a bad
OTSRs.
design.
Horse collars are bad.
Vekoma SLC horse collars are bad. I can agree with
No, B&Ms are
that.
every bit as bad as Vekoma.
No.
Even worse in some. Oh, absolutely.
No. I have never.
B&M's horse collars are horrible. Same as Arrow's horse collars.
I don't agree. All right. Well, that's about all I got on at America. I think I read the Drop Tower, which was fine. It was packed, I tell you. I was surprised. A lot of summer camps were there, which makes sense. I'm not shocked that parks are getting packed again because again, a lot of summer camps are reopening. People are traveling again, so it made sense. But I was really not expecting that. I haven't been. I guess I just haven't been to America before where it's been packed. So it was my first time seeing that park crowded. It was quite a spectacle, though. We were waiting. They had you know where the entrance is, right?
Mhm.
So they had a little bit of a line there stretching from security, but then they have like the actual roadway there that intersects the entrance. So they had to actually have the line behind that roadway. So they had it stretching like along the parking lot. It was going back like half a mile. It was such a long line. It was crazy.
Mm.
But then when we actually got in the park, we walked right onto Superman. We walked right onto Batwing. We walked right. I think most people are going to the water park. But still,
Yeah,
it
that's
was
very
shocked. That
common.
was shocking.
It's very
to see
common
that.
for Six Flags America.
Yeah.
The water park gets most of the.
The
Most of
crowds,
the
most of the
people.
attention.
Yeah.
Well, all right, that was about it for my trip to America. It was a pretty successful trip. We went to Adventure Park USA following that trip, just for a brief. I think we literally went in for 30 to 45 minutes. It was such a short little trip.
Yeah.
Um,
It's such a
But-
cool little FEC
I
though.
have to say, yeah, I was really impressed by the interior of the arcade. Like, it is themed very, very well.
Yeah,
So it's Wild West theme. You have wagons inside, like the wagons that they drove across the west to California to settle out there. They have like buildings and facades that are set up to look old and western, and it's very, very well done. I was very surprised. They had like a restaurant there with a really cool projection screen that like projected the menu. I thought it was really interesting how they did. I mean, it's some really, really advanced stuff they had there. I was really surprised. I was expecting kind of a more small, I don't want to say not necessarily, just not as advanced as we see, but it was very, very well done. Like, I was
But
very impressed.
that's the interesting thing about Adventure Park USA though, is it's not really advanced. It's just creative. And that's the
I
thing
agree
that
with the outdoor section. In the indoor section, I was quite impressed with the technology they were using. I mean, again, that was a very cool, and I actually haven't seen it in any other parks necessarily. Like a projection system they had. Some of the lighting
But
was
that-
really
well,
cool and
but
interesting.
the thing is like it's creative ways of using that technology that exists.
And let me just
like
say,
it's
it was a
not
lot
new
more,
technology.
It's not like innovative. And in terms of advancement, it was more advanced than I was expecting with my initial thoughts going in. Not to say that it's like on par with Universal or like they don't have that kind of
Right. But
technology
what-
at hand, but
what the point I'm trying to get at is Eric Stottlemyre, the owner, is actually he's really good at taking things and making them work for what he wants, which is why a lot of the rides there are older rides that he's actually had either himself or had teams like help refurbish rides that were basically going to be thrown away. Um, and it's just like that's the thing I really like about the park is just watching what he does.
Hmm.
Because he just gets really creative about stuff, and there's just things there that you wouldn't see at other parks or FECs because people just wouldn't think of doing that.
Hmm. Yeah, and really, not only was I impressed by the interior, the exterior was very well done. I just wasn't really prepared for how well maintained it is as well. Like, yes, the indoor is themed well, but like the outdoor,
Mhm.
the landscaping's done well. It's green. There's shrubbery. There's flowers. It's beautiful. It's pretty. Like it was very very nice park. I was
Yep.
really not expecting that, to be honest. I was expecting, we're just getting by. We don't, we can't afford this kind of luxuries of, oh, we have really nice landscaping and all that, which is not the correct assessment to come to. I mean, they definitely do a great job there. It's really one of the most surprising parks that I've ever been to. Like, typically I can kind of gauge what kind of park I'm walking into. I had really no knowledge of what this park was going to be like, and I was happily surprised. I got
Yeah,
on
it
all the
definitely
rides
is.
there. Very, very happy to do that. I even got on the kiddie coaster, which was quite a funny little ride. Um, I mean, really, it is. So it actually
It
has like one
is.
of those handheld brakes. I mean, it was pretty funny. Uh, there were the seating arrangement was kind of funny. They had like these weird cushions on the back of the seats, and they were like mine was falling off during the ride a little bit. Alex said his was actually really really comfy. There was no issue there. So I might have been just the back train on mine. But I thought it was a very interesting little ride. Um, we
I
also
think
got
that's the
on.
same as isn't that Little Phantom? I feel like it's
Uh,
the
I I think so.
let me see.
I think so.
Looking. Oh wow. Holy crap. They built 36 roller
Hmm.
coasters?
Hmm.
Well, that means I got to go through 2 pages to find it. Maybe it's not the same. It
Maybe
it
not.
does look the same as I think there might be some craziness going on with it, like where it was like one company that turned into another company. Because I mean, if you look at it, it clearly looks like Little Phantom.
Yeah, it's probably that
Like
kind of
it's
scenario.
that is absolutely Little Phantom.
Yeah, it's just an interesting little ride. It's called Tumbleweed, by the way. Anyone that's wondering. We then got on Wild West Express, which is the Zamperla Windstorm. Wow, that's probably all I can uh, to describe that ride. Very, very, very wacky. A lot of
Wait,
fun though.
which
I enjoyed it.
Wild yeah, the Windstorm Wild West Express. Yes,
Yes.
that's when I first walked up to that, man.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't want to.
telling
I don't
you.
want to ruin any surprises, so I'm not going to specify what part really shocked me because I think even when you walk up to it, there's just such a massive track there. It's kind of hard to tell um, what is going to be where and how it's going to really respond to it. I mean, I swear I walked up to the ride. I was like, all right, got on. Wasn't until this element actually occurred that I was like, holy crap, we're about to go down this element. I don't know what's going to happen. So I kind of want to leave that up to you if you actually go to the park. I don't want to ruin that surprise because hopefully you'll know what I'm talking about once you do it. But then we also got on Wildcat, which is the Schwarzkraft um, Wildcat. Um,
Imagine that.
yeah, they have the little two-car trains, and it was a lot. I mean, two-row trains, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I think I preferred the Windstorm though. I think I preferred Wild West Express as much as I liked Wildcat. I don't know. I liked the Windstorm quite a bit actually. I thought that was a really fun ride.
They both have their I like them both in different ways. I guess is the way I'd
I
say
mean,
it.
yeah, they're completely different rides. But if I had to go there right now and choose one ride to ride tonight, I would say I'm getting on the Windstorm probably. I thought it was quite funny with Wildcat. That the operator has to actually push you over to the brakes, and then have you exit, and then push the train up to the wheels. so that you can actually dispatch the
Yeah.
ride. I mean, I know
Actually, you
that's
know what I the thing that I found funniest about it was, did you pay attention to the lift chain?
yep. It's like an actual
It is an
chain.
actual like chain link,
Yep, yep, yep,
like from a swing set. That
yep.
was the most bizarre thing I thought.
I did as well. I thought that I literally when we first latched on, I'm like, oh man, I was like, Alex, this is actual real chain. That was funny.
Indeed.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's about my trip up there to Maryland. Right after that, we actually met up and went and did some go karting, like real go karting.
Yeah, the place.
Autobahn
Well,
racing. Yeah, it
yeah,
was like,
Autobahn.
hmm
Not the first Autobahn we went to though.
yeah. We ended up
We were
going to
close
two
early.
because the first one was closed due to having they had like a club that meets there every week
Yeah.
and does some event does an event and does some their own racing. They kind of rent out the facility for the night. But yeah, there was no notice of that, which we kind of got upset about. But we went on to the next one. That was fun. Not necessarily amusement park related, but it is an amusement park attraction sometimes. So I think it fits our show.
Oh, it was not. No, it's nothing like amusement park go karts.
It's not like amusement park go karts, but it is. Go karts in general are often
Let me tell you,
amusement park
James,
attractions.
my arms hurt the entire day at Kennywood because of those go karts.
Yeah, I moved on right after. I mean, my arms were a bit sore like 10 minutes after we did it, and then after that, I kind of got better. I tell you,
I mean,
I got in my car and I was like, wow, this feels weird. After we'd done that for like an hour, I was like, I got in my car and I'm like, oh, my steering wheel's like, it's not as tight. Like I can turn again and steer again. It was a bit odd getting back in my car after doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I exaggerated. Like, they didn't really hurt all day at Kennywood, but I could feel like,
You could
you know,
feel
you
it.
just had that feeling where you could feel your muscles had been worked. Yeah, that was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, I mean, it was an
I
interesting experience. It's something we hadn't done before. So it was definitely a fun little encounter we had there. I'm glad we got to do that. And so that concludes our trip reports from Pittsburgh and from Maryland. We had a good time. Favorite drop towers is our weekly poll for this week. I think you guys all know our favorite drop towers, right? I think we might have mentioned it
yeah.
quite a few times. If you really can't think of it right now, it is the Larson drop towers. I
Yes,
think we
by
talked about
far.
those. Anytime we bring up a drop ride in general, we compare it to the Larson drop towers. But we got quite a few responses with other ones. We did get quite a few Larsons, so I'll just put that out there. We did get some Larsons. We got Power Tower at Cedar Point, which I'm honestly surprised by. Seeing that I'm not a huge fan of that ride. The S&S drop towers just aren't really anything spectacular. I do like the
Yeah,
Power
they're
Tower
better
has the
for.
launch and then it has the actual drop. I think that's
And
that incorporates
I also
both. I
kind of like
appreciate
the
that,
bounce.
and I like the view. I mean, you can't beat the view. It's a pretty good view of the park. So it definitely has its pros, and it definitely has its merit. But I wouldn't say it's my favorite by any means.
Yeah, definitely. S&S is probably on the low end of my.
Drop tower
If
manufacturers.
we're talking about purely the drop, just drop. They're definitely. I do enjoy their launches.
The
Like
launches
the
are
launch
fun.
tower
Yeah,
is kind
I
of
like the
cool.
launches.
It's a fun ride.
Yeah, like Liberty Launch is a good fun ride.
Well, here's a question I have for you, James. Do you have a favorite installation of the Larson Towers?
Yes, I think Kennywood's is probably my favorite. I mean Kennywood's, Knoebels. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute.
wait. I was just there. I don't remember that. No, Knoebels is probably my favorite, and I would say that because that at least my memories on it and the nostalgia I have with you guys riding it. I honestly think that the Kentucky Kingdom one's just as good. Like in terms of ride experience, I thought it was just as good. And I also like that whenever we do Knoebels, it's like pitch black night and it's that Halloween atmosphere. You have like fog
Yeah,
from the other
that's true.
rides, kind of creating an aroma. So yeah, I think Knoebels is probably my favorite, but I think
I,
Kentucky
w-
Kingdoms is pretty well. Pretty
I
good
would
as well.
probably say that's my second favorite. My favorite is by far Waldemir
Mm.
because they have it. First of all, they have it up on a platform, but then secondly, when you go up, if you're on the right side, you look out over Lake Erie, which just
I've never
adds
seen
to
that.
the whole experience.
That
It's
sounds very
really cool.
similar to the Marineland in Canada. Their drop tower. They have it like it's not on a platform, but it's elevated. It's like on a hill, and you actually
Mhm.
the actual view is like from 400 or 500 feet up in the air, even though the actual drop tower is only about 100, 200 feet tall. So you can actually like see, I think you can see Niagara Falls from that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's
When you can incorporate natural terrain and beauty into your ride, I think it adds a whole nother level. The same thing with like that's why I think Power Tower, while it might not actually be on alone a great ride, that view of whether you're sitting on the side that faces Lake Erie or faces the park, um, it can be really really cool. So incorporating those kind of features into the ride are important. Drop Tower at King's Dominion got a response. I think that is probably my second favorite drop tower behind the Larsons. Uh,
yeah.
that Intamin gyro drop is really, really, really good. It's one of the larger ones, I think, in America. I think it's like fourth or fifth tallest. It's like almost 300 feet tall. It's really, really a massive ride, and I mean, I tell you, that drop is really, really, really great.
Yeah, it's it. I might have to agree with you. Is that my second? I don't. Well, I'm gonna put an asterisk because it's been 2 decades since I've been on Tower of Terror.
Yep, yep. And that got some mentions,
But
so we can bring that up.
I think that from my memory, I think that Tower of Terror might be my second favorite. Um, but a lot of that has to do with theming.
Yeah,
Uh, I
they're,
like I
they're
can't
different.
remember.
They're different, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the drop experience that well. I remember really really liking it. But it's like really hard to compare.
Yeah.
A recent ride
Something
on a
you've
Larson
written
to
last
something I rode
year,
20
2 years
years
ago,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so I really like Job Tower Kings Advance. They're really, really good ride. That's probably my second favorite. Despite the fact that I've ridden Falcon's Fury, which is brought up, which is considered to be the best drop tower, and everyone kind of that seems to be the popular take, right? That is the best drop tower in North America. I like that ride a lot. I think it's fun. I in no way think it's really a great drop though. I still think King's Dominion's drop far surpasses that of Falcon's Fury. The drop is cool because you're facing downward and you're swooping down on the prey, quote unquote, as you're a falcon, which is great, and I really like that element of the ride. But I don't think the actual drop does anything for me. Like you know how you get off drop rides and you feel like that adrenaline, and you're like, oh my god, I feel like I could run a marathon right now. You don't get that on
Yeah.
Falcon's Fury, which I was expecting. I was expecting to get off and be like, all right, let's get on again. And then once you get strapped in, you're like, oh, why am I doing this? But it's that feeling of like you can do anything, you conquer the world right after you get off these drop rides. I didn't feel that on Falcon's Fury. I still feel that on Drop Tower King's Dominion. On the Larsons, I still feel it, especially because of how sudden the drop is, and because Falcon's Fury, the brakes kick in a lot higher up on the tower. I think part of the fun of the drop towers, especially King's Dominion, is how close to the ground uh, the brakes ignite and stop the
Yeah.
ride.
And
So,
that's also an
or
aspect of the
engage, excuse me.
Larsons too.
Exactly, exactly. It's how low on the
That's
tower. When you
that's
feel
kind
like
of
you're about
like
to slam into the
how
ground, you're like, oh crap.
right. That's kind of how I felt about Zuma Manjaro. It like
Yeah,
I'm like I was frightened
I
waiting in
was scared
line on that.
shitless.
I was like I was just
I was with
like
Daniel too, and I'm like, oh my god, Daniel.
and then when we dropped, I was just like, "What?
What is this?
Really? That was not that bad at all."
Yeah,
But a lot of it is I think like the brakes start engaging like probably just under the halfway mark. So like your actual free fall drop isn't that good.
yeah. It's not
It,
a
it
long
like it is
duration,
yeah, it's not nearly as long.
and that's the unfortunate part of that. So a lot of people also bring up this drop tower, Acrophobia at Six Flags Over Georgia. That's the standing drop tower. Um, I like that a lot, actually. I think it's a fun drop ride. I don't necessarily think the drop is all that great, but I really like the standing element. It's pretty cool. I think it's really fun. And it is an alright drop. So it's not as weak as that like of Zumanjaro, but it's definitely not like Drop Tower or the Larsons. I don't think. I think it's like a midway point, a good midway point. Like the drop's fun and good. It's nothing insane though. So we also got some Tower of Terror mentions. I haven't been on that. I can't really speak to that. Bob, you kind of can a little bit.
Yeah, it's like there's not words to describe. It's so great. If like and it's all theming related. It's just so spectacular. Everything about it just like gives you those just chills. It's so
Yeah,
good.
just by how
Like
intricate and detailed it is.
yeah, you don't really understand what's happening, and that just adds to it, to the whole experience. And I also love that the drop behaves more like the SNSs, where you drop and bounce back up and drop. But it's also cool that it's like each ride cycle is different, so you never really know when you're gonna drop and like how far you're gonna drop each time. So like every drop can still get you to a certain extent.
That's very
There's
cool.
just so many great things about that.
That is very, very awesome. Lux Luthor Drop of Dune at Six Flags Magic Mountain got mentioned. That's the one that's attached to the Subran Krypton coaster. And that's just like Zumanjaro. It's a 400 foot drop tower. And I think it's the exact same model as Zumanjaro. I think it's that like, Intamin. So it's going to be a very similar model. So I can't speak to it, but I would imagine it's probably on par with about Zumanjaro in terms of the drop. So that being said, I don't get the being the best drop tower. I really didn't think Zumanjaro was anything special, and I know Bob spoke to that a bit, so we hit that nail on the head. We got Falcon's Fury again. Yeah, it's a good drop tower. We got Superman Tower of Power at Six Flags St. Louis. I haven't really heard much about that one. I don't know what that honestly constitutes. I don't know if that's a Intamin, if that's what. But yeah, I think it might be
I don't.
a very similar model to like the drop tower at Canada's Wonderland and the one at America. The Intamin, like with the four
the
trains that all
giant drop, I think they call
all
it.
attached. Yeah, I think that might be what it is. Regardless, it is still.
Yes, that is what
it is. Is that what it is?
Yep.
All right. Well, regardless, then.
230 feet tall, though.
I'm not a big fan of those rides. Maybe it being that tall could change, but at least the ones I've done haven't been fun. That's probably very similar to Pitfall then, because that's what Pitfall was. I think Pitfall was like 230 feet. It was
wait.
Pitfall was definitely the same model.
Oh,
But
Pitfall was, yeah, you're right. You're right.
And it was definitely, I think, in the 200s, so it's probably pretty similar to. It was 251 feet, so. Yep. All right. So that is about it for the drop tower responses. We got some good ones. Thank you guys for sending in.
Oh, sorry. 251 feet was Pitfall. That's how tall Pitfall was.
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, did you?
I did. That's okay.
Don't mind me.
I thought you were joking. Oh man. But yeah, that does it for our responses to the drop tower poll. Thank you guys so much for sending in those responses. Next week's weekly poll is your top 5. We're actually going to bring up our top 25s yet again. I know we do that periodically, but we like to bring it up once we've ridden new rides. Like once I go to California in August, possibly, maybe that's when we do another one. Like whenever we do a bunch of new park trips and do some new credits, we like to update you guys on our top 25s because that's kind of why we have them, to share them with others. So we're going to ask you guys your top 5 so you guys can also share your thoughts on the rides that you've ridden as well. So that about does it for this week's episode. I do want to bring up that the Coaster Talk Podcast photo contest is coming up soon. It's starting July 14th and it'll go through the 26th. The rules are as follows. The watermarks must be minimal if present at all in your photo. They must be theme park related. They don't have to be coasters, but we don't really want water parks. Must be your own content. Must be taken while it must not be taken while on a ride unless it's permitted by the park, or if it's in a restricted area, we ask that you do not send it in either. So if you're an employee or if you've taken a tour, we ask you to not send those kind of photos in. TIFF, JPG, PNG files is what we request. A minimum of 2048 by 2048 resolution and a max of 10 megabyte files. Include the following information on your photo: the name, the age, the email, the photo title, the park where the photo was taken, also the caption that kind of describes the photo. And then we're going to have 3 rounds. We're going to weed out the ones we don't really like and don't think meet the criteria that we've listed. And the first round, the second round, the audience is going to narrow it down to a certain amount of photos that we really haven't decided yet. Depending on how many photos we get, we'll decide what the number is going to be. And then we're going to have judges who are to be determined to vote on the best one, and then the top 3 are going to receive a prize, which is also to be determined. So that is the Coach Talk Podcast photo contest. If you want to answer the weekly poll, you go to coachtalkpodcast.com/poll, or go to Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Coach Talk Podcast. That's where we're going to have the poll, as well as other information such as updates on our trips. We're going to have other industry analysis that we do, commentary. All of that's going to be on the Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Coach Talk Pod. YouTube, Coach Talk Podcast, 3 separate words. It's where you're going to find video content. Sometimes we have videos of me and Bob having discussions. Sometimes it's park footage. Sometimes it's park reviews. Whatever it is, it's going to be on the YouTube channel. Contact us, coachtalkpodcast.com/contact for any comments, questions, or concerns, or email James at coachtalkpodcast.com or Bob at coachtalkpodcast.com. Also, and most importantly, if you want to support us, please go to coachtalkpodcast.com/shop. We have merchandise there that we think many will love, and we appreciate any type of free marketing we can get at the park. So thank you guys so much for listening. Bob, it was quite an episode, and we'll see you guys on next week's show. But you were going to say yeah or something.
I didn't know. Like yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know why you said Bob has been, and then you went right into. We'll see you on.
Bob, it was
That's
quite
which
an
is fine
episode.
because we're just under 2 hours, so it's better not to hit the 2 hour mark. Definitely better than not hitting 3 hour mark. But
We feeling that. All right. Goodbye, everyone on the live stream. We gotta go to bed. So
yeah, is anybody even still there?
there's 3 people still watching apparently. Whoever's out there. Good night.
Yep. Good night, guys.